How are you doing? You know, it's me here, Mark Maloney, the host of the Hardy Books podcast, and you're very welcome. I feel like Dermot and Dave in the afternoon. Joining me today is the King of Kells, the tender Fred Cooke, musician, comedian, actor, and dancer. He wouldn't be afraid to spin the toes, as he was in Dancing with the Stars, and he knows how to sink pints and wrestle hard lads down alleyways. Fred, you're very, very welcome to the Hardy Books, mate.
Martin, thanks so much for having me. Those days of wrestling lads down alleyways are very much 10 years ago. It was a noughties thing, really, so I put it behind me.
But it defined you as a human being, though, didn't it?
It did, yeah. It's the pivot point. It's either take the abuse or be a man. And I went down there with a can.
And you did. And as Conor McGregor would have said, it is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, definitely.
I had, a good friend of yours, Podge McNamee, a year ago, and we were talking about it. I brought up the time when yourself, and Gavigan, and a few other lads were in Whelan's, and someone was like, "That's Ed Sheeran's cousin." And I remember leaning over to the bar to put a head on the pint. It was a bit cheeky, but she was like 4 a.m, and the barman goes, "Hey, what are you doing?" I was like, "I'm just putting a head on it," and then Ed Sheeran's girlfriend's boyfriend said, "Hey, I'll put a head on you." And then remember, I was just like standing there, "Oh, who does he think he is? Who does he think he is?" And I for like half an hour glancing over it. And then when he was leaving, he goes, "Take care, man. Good luck." And I went, "I'll see you." And he was like, "What the fuck?" Good times. I haven't been on the beer with you for a long time.
I know, yeah. I was just thinking of those nights at Whelan's as well. It's just they're mighty, you know what I mean? I'd miss that now. I'd miss the crack and the pints and the chats, but more so maybe the set. Yeah, exactly, and the laughter,
pills.
Yeah. I missed the LSD, and because you can't have that here.
No, not at all. How's the old LD treating you? Lockdown Valley.
The LD?
Yeah, lockdown.
Oh, right. Yeah. Look, it's fine. It's more of I can't complain and I won't complain, and I'm not trying to force positivity on myself. I'm just kind of it's not, as I was saying yesterday, you know what I mean? Like, even a fight against this, it's not even like colonial. It's not like the Irish people have been told what to do because of land or history or something like this. It's more kind of, so you really do have to get on with it. And it's more of an inconvenience than a problem. I lost my second cousin, who was 42. He passed away of it a month ago today. Yeah. So really, he just got the early stages of it. You know what I mean? When it came in, so you're kind of.
Did he have any underlying health problems?
He did. He definitely did.
Like diabetes or asthma?
Yeah, he's a diabetic as well.
So why does it hit diabetics so hard? Like, I don't know the story there.
I really don't know. Like, if it's and for me to be saying I don't know. But
there's a very well-known TV presenter over here called Adam Alsing. I mean, the guy was, he was like top-tier presenter. He was a very well-loved personality. Yeah. And the day before, I was just looking at a picture on the back of the bus with his face on it. And then everyone was like, "Oh, did you hear about Adam Alsing? He died." I was like, "Jeez." Yeah. And I mean, the last thing he wrote on Twitter was that he'd be out soon. Obviously, he didn't. God rest him. That was sad.
We loads of people as well. The first people in Ireland to get it were people in media that we knew of. Like Ciara Kelly, who was on News Talk, and then Ryan Tuberty from the Late Late Show. And so it was I don't know.
Were they sharing the same straws?
And then Mary Lou McDonald. So you know what I mean? Like, these are all kind of high profile figures.
And were they sharing the same straws, do you reckon?
They were, yeah, definitely. They were sharing cans in RTE. That's the problem at the back.
Up in the green room.
Yeah.
Sharing body fluids. Sorry. It's got a bit too lewd there, didn't it? Forgive me, Fred. It's a family show. No, it's not. It's the Hardy Books podcast.
Exactly, yeah.
So what do you be doing during the days? Because you're handy on the old 6-string.
Oh yeah. Oh well, my God,
Jamming
Martin,
away.
coming from you, I'll take that as a massive compliment. Thanks so much. Like so,
Hey.
but you're a jammer. We're jammers. You know what I mean? Like so, I wouldn't be the best at guitar solos or stuff like that, but I can hit chords. Do you know that kind of stuff? You know?
Yeah. Do you know what? Like, I think I just never had the patience to sit down and just go through pages and pages of tabs. It was just too boring. And I always try to play by ear, and you kind of make it up as you go along. But like, it would be lovely just to be able to nail solos to your favorite songs.
Yeah. The comfort of it, you know.
The comfort of it, yeah.
Not to have to look at the fretboard. I'll just be. The nice thing about guitar scales is if you've, like, unlike the piano, like if you learn one guitar scale in a major position, major key or minor key, it works for every single. The position doesn't change on the fretboard.
Yeah,
you know, it's so handy, like, you know, and it's. But I still haven't given myself time to learn that, even though, like, you know.
Like, I wonder if we just went and paid for some, guitar buff, and we actually just paid like 40 quid a lesson to some primo teacher, and just like, I want to play like Slash or Nuno Betancourt. But the other thing is kind of like, it's grand if you're doing like pub gigs and that kind of thing. But unfortunately, I'm probably the same as yourself, like, spent 20 years trying to learn all this flashy guitar stuff, and no one's into it anymore. They just want to hear Galway Girl and stuff like that.
Exactly, yeah. There's no... we're in a lucky time as well. And I don't know, I think, you know, especially for guitar, you know what I mean? If you like the 90s, like for me, like, you know, like if learning a guitar and being into Radiohead at the same time was a pure joy. Do you know what I mean? Like figuring out Radiohead stuff or even early Oasis stuff. Blur, that 90s guitar scene was popular as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, so all those 90s bands you go through, Shed 7 and so it was...
Shed 7, man. That takes me back.
Remember Shed 7?
Shed 7, yeah. Matchbox 20.
Yeah.
Do you remember back in the early, like, 2000s, there was all like JJ72, Wilt, and like there was lads in school who were like going to the Curb Dog concert, man.
Yeah,
like, wow, who are they? What are they about?
Do you remember? God, yeah. I was telling my partner Julie yesterday. We were talking about crushes in the 90s, and my crush was Hilary Woods from JJ72, the bass player.
Yeah,
I was like, oh my word, you know. And then I met her 2 years ago. And the teenager came back to me. I was like, yeah, how are you doing? How are you? I had nothing to say to her, you know. Good luck now. I walked out.
There was a darker girl who was in Off the Rails years ago, and I used to think she was cracking.
Oh, she was beautiful, yeah.
And I remember telling her that at the IFTAs once. She got offended, and I was like, suit yourself.
Right, yeah.
She took umbrage to it, and I was like, it wasn't even in a sleazy way. It was like, yeah. It was just like, I fancied you when I was a teenager. She was like, why are you telling me that? I'm like, I don't know. Like a compliment.
Yeah.
I guess, what can you do?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Someone told me that, I'd be like, oh, cheers, man. Appreciate that.
I met Dave Fanning once, and I've met him since, but this was so embarrassing, but it happened
that... fancied him.
Well, no, you know what? If I said that, it would have been better than what I actually said. Like, you know what I mean? Like I said, because this was 2FM used to have Dave Fanning on a Sunday morning called, I think it was called 2 Music or 2 TV, and they'd have the radio on at the same time. So you'd have 2FM and you'd have RTE together at the same time. So what I'd do is I would put 2 radios on each side of me and in the house and turn down the TV and watch Dave Fanning. But this happened on this Sunday morning. So I wouldn't be religious, but I'd be under house orders. So I'd go to mass. If I didn't go on a Saturday night, I had to go on a Sunday morning, or vice versa.
Yeah. So it was always better. I always thought it was better to go on the Saturday night just to get it out of the way.
Exactly. Yeah. So I met Dave Fanning in the student bars my first year in college, year 2000, and I went up to him. Right, it was a Heineken roller coaster tour. I said to Dave Fanning, "This is so bad." I said, "Oh, David, you're such a legend. Do you know what, David? I go to mass on a Saturday night, so I can see you on a Sunday morning." Oh my God. And he walked away from me. He just walked away from me like he wouldn't look at me. And he was right. I was devastated because he was such a hero.
What was the thing you had, like Planet Rock profiles?
That was it.
They had like this kind of this grainy black and white, like 8mm or 32mm footage from the profile. And there was a lot of amateur filmmakers around Ireland doing instructional videos who tried to.
I remember that he was interviewing REM in a garden. I don't know what the interview was. It was around the time. It would have been Monster, and 94. But it shows them walking through a garden, and then for no reason it goes all grainy, black and white, through the trees. So technically there was a lad a few meters down in between the trees filming them in black and white.
Shot.
Yeah.
Tell me this: have you been watching Tiger King? I waited until all the fuss was finished till I started watching it. And I watched
the first 4 episodes, and I thought it was great. And I feel now, since the new stuff has come out, I kind of feel like it's been ruined on me. I know what happens. I think I know what happens. Do you know what I mean?
I've watched 6, so I've still got 2 left. But it's absolutely, it's unreal, man.
Yeah,
such a bunch of characters.
Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it? And he actually reminds me of some guy who used to run a few comedy clubs around the country. Do you know what I mean? Like that, they run their business on complete paranoia.
Yeah.
And this is why that person there is trying to ruin me. That person there, you're kind of like, he's. But yeah, he's brilliant. It's crazy, like.
Who you man? The Tiger King dude.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, could you imagine like the lifestyle? It'd be great crack, just like hanging out with tigers all day and shooting guns and driving quads across country trail. That'd be great crack, man.
But on the face of it, that scene when your man loses his arm at the very start, you're like, oh God, would you be like, if that happened to you, if you're working there in a summer job and you lost your arm, you'd be probably like, come 2 o'clock, you'd be like, oh man, I'm going to go to the centre, change my job or something like this, There's too many. When you so it's.
Well, in fairness, like he was surrounded by people who were very loyal to him. I think he kind of was a collector of waifs and strays and jailbirds.
Misfits, absolutely, yeah. Complete misfits, and that's his charm. Like there is, I'm only 4 in, but he's kind of affable as well, isn't he? Like he's and demented as well at the same time.
Yeah, and the other thing is, you want Carol Baskin, who's been really trying hard to kind of ruin everyone else who owns like their own parks. It's pretty much doing exactly the same thing as what they've done.
Yeah.
Like she basically owns a park where the cats are in cages and calls it a sanctuary.
Yeah.
And bred her own cats during. I mean, the whole breeding of wild animals and taking them off their mothers for like petting them. That's bollocks. That crack. Like it's not right. You could see in the later episodes when the shit was hitting the fan in the park, like there was a tiger giving birth to cubs, and they were literally taking them out of the mother's care instantly. It's just not right, man. So it'll be interesting to see how it all rounds off. But I'm usually like, I remember told off years ago, I was going, man, have you seen Making a Murderer? It's amazing. I was like, I don't really want to watch that kind of shit, man. But,
I know what you're saying. It's heavy. Like, I watch some crime stuff on Netflix with Julie, and I just feel sorry for these dudes who did absolutely nothing. Like, what? Just been in the wrong place at the wrong time. Do you know what I mean? To get life, it's hard. Do you know what I mean? To watch it, and then normal people. Are you watching that in it's a BBC RTE drama.
Yeah,
and this writer Sally Rooney is very good, and it's
based down in Mayo, is it?
Sligo.
Yeah. I remember there was auditions for that. Didn't you get the audition?
Did you not? No. But it's. Do you know what? It's so true to our primary school time. Well, you were in England, weren't you? But you in primary school in Mayo, did you? Or secondary school?
Straight into secondary school. They gave me the option of staying back a year, and I was like, "Fuck that."
Yeah.
And school was it was because in school in Wallasey they had like the internet. They were showing us how to like use computers and everything, and to be honest with you, like school over there was great crack. Like, you used to wake up in the morning and look forward to going to school because it was mad crack. And then school in Ireland, it was all right, like, but it was just kind of, there was a few weird things that you could just walk downtown and get lunch during the middle of the day, and it was like, what, you can leave school and up to you to go to the chipper and buy a bag of chips. It was lads who just had bags of chips for lunch every day, and you're like,
I was only thinking that last week.
What, just
I went to Podge and I I know I've told you this a million times.
Cape
So
Crusader.
Podge McNamee from Ham Sandwich, but we repeated the Leaving Cert together in an all-girls school in Kells.
Oh, perfect.
And I was amazing. Like, to take those, I think it worked out like 600 women and 5 lads, and we were 2 of the 5 lads. Now, obviously, like, you weren't looking at like first years or second years or third years. You know what I mean? Like, you're kind of.
But the Debs was class.
Well, that's the thing with normal people. It goes right back to the Debs and how local and how. Do you know when your
how
first
political it all is?
Oh, socially political. It's desperate, and it's a kind of claustrophobic environment that your hometown will give you. Like, and in a way it's very subtle, and it's almost times non-eventful, like Irish acting. You can hold on onto the guy going, "I didn't say that." It's very kind of. Do you know that Irish acting when it's hard to get in on it, but it's really subtle and really well. But it does bring you back to that time of being a teenager in the 90s, and how 5 lads validate your position, how cool you are or how cool you aren't. It's
a bit like the entertainment industry gatekeepers in Ireland.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it was always those lads. I remember saying to Eleanor Tiernan once, I was talking about a guy. I went to an all-boys boarding school in Cavan.
Yeah, great crack, was it?
There was moments.
I couldn't think of anything worse, man.
I know, yeah.
Would you be there all week and then for the weekends as well, or did you get to go home for the weekends?
The first 2 years we had to stay every second weekend, but then we got home then, like, because they couldn't afford to keep us in. Like, it wasn't a posh boarding school.
Yeah.
Like, it was like the electricity. Exactly. Yeah. But I remember going on a tour to Mountjoy when we were in the school, Mountjoy prison, and we seen one of the cells, and I was looking at the beds going, they're actually better than back in Cavan, like in the schools that we're in, like, But and they were showing us what the prisoners do in Mountjoy prison, that how they attack each other. Like, you've seen the movies since, like, they'll get the end of a toothbrush and they'll burn it.
Yeah.
Create a sharpness, and then they'll stab with that. And then, or they'll get a fork and they'll bring the 3 spikes down, so there's 1 spike left to create a good thing. And like the next day back in the canteen in Cavan in school, there wasn't a fork that wasn't damaged.
Ideas were given to the lads.
Exactly, yeah.
But imagine how crap it'd be being in like a hard prison like Mountjoy.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
When you go in, I mean, like in Sopranos when you got Feach LaManna and he's like, I went up to the biggest black guy I could see and I said, "Hey, motherfucker," and I punched him in the face, and that was it.
Yeah.
And you're like, I suppose you'd have to just use humor. Like, how are you boys? Yeah. Hey! And they're like, what you fucking say? Like,
how would you do it? Would you just, you'd almost have to keep to yourself. That's what I was actually thinking that you'd have to keep to yourself and then find a lad who's also kind of quietly keeping it to himself.
Yeah.
And then maybe 2 weeks go up to him and go,
what if you just covered yourself in your own shit?
Yeah.
People be like, stay away from him, man. He's a thought board. I mean, did you ever watch Oz?
No.
And that was hard. That was a hard TV show. It was on HBO about 20 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
And, that was just grim. It was really gritty. And every time you watch it, you're like, you didn't know who would be bumped off next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
But it was just really grim. Like it was quite graphic, and the lads getting bummed, and fucking people being shanked, and it was quite violent. But there was these 2 Irish guys in it called what were they called? It's 2 brothers. Was like not O'Malley or O'Leary. Yeah, I think it was O'Leary. I don't know. But there's these 2 brothers, and they were like both in. One was called Cyril. I can't remember the other one, but Cyril was like a long-haired dude, and he'd had like a brain injury, so he was now like brain damaged.
Yeah.
And Cyril, was it O'Reilly? O'Reilly, that was it. Yeah. But they were the 2 Irish dudes in it. But it was a good show. You should check it out. It's probably on.
Were they the comical light relief? The two Irish lads in a serious situation.
There was a guy called Cyril in it, and he was like this, and he would go around, and he would be very. But the thing is, he was a trained boxer. He went nuts one day during the ring, and then like killed someone in an amateur boxing fight. But yeah, it was really good. It had Winston from Ghostbusters was.
Fantastic.
And a couple of guys from The Wire were in it, and I think it seems like most of these shows like Sopranos, Oz, all these big shows. After they finish, a lot of the kind of, the ancillary characters end up in stuff like Law and Order, Special Victims Unit, with Ice-T. Do you ever watch Ice-T? He's in that as well. Do you remember Badass TV? Used to be on Channel 4. I always shite that program, man. It was like, you'd always watch Channel 4 for either tits or comedy. And then like Badass TV with Ice-T came on. You're like, oh, man, I have to wait till this is over now. Did you enjoy watching TFI Friday?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I still, when I'm harping for nostalgia, I'll go back in old YouTube clips. Do you know, there's the example we mentioned Shed 7 earlier on.
Or Dodgy in a room.
Yeah. It's Your Letters. Like that moment when, do you remember the one when Noel Gallagher was on TFI Friday? But he was actually, Chris Evans decided to do it from his home as a special, and it was one of the last. And seemingly Noel Gallagher only lived 3 houses down from him. Yeah. So it shows Noel Gallagher leaving his house, walking up the street and coming into the studios and sitting down beside Chris Evans. And it was awesome. Chris Evans was brilliant.
He was brilliant.
Like, he was so creative. Like, there was so much. And it reminds me, I know you mentioned Dermot and Dave earlier. Yeah, exactly, yeah. Or fat celebrity lookalike. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that, but I mean, I have seen it.
It was like, there was so much in it.
But Big Breakfast was like that as well.
Yeah, which was Chris Evans' idea as well. Chris Evans and Bob Geldof. Like, that was the first time Big Breakfast TV when, because that was in 6th class, maybe 5th class when that kind of took off. So it was the first time really that breakfast TV was absolutely chaotic and fun. You'd zig and zag, and now there's a lot of this. The irony of it is that there was a lot of work put into it. You know what I mean? Like, they weren't as chaotic as they came across. But there was it was like putting Anton Deck on it at 7 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, that's great.
Those lads did well for themselves.
Yeah.
But apparently, my sister was talking to one of them at an award ceremony. I think it was one of the duo, and they said they were big fans of Hardy Bucks.
No way. Yeah.
The parents are Irish as well, so they probably. Apparently, Dermot O'Leary likes it as well.
Yeah. But that's it was an aunt's parents or grannies from Leitrim.
Really?
From Dromahare.
McPartland, because there's a lot of McPartlands around Leitrim. Yeah. Actually, a friend of mine, Rory McPartland, he's from Mohill. He's from the same town as Catherine Lynch.
I think I know Rory McPartland. I know him. He's involved in the Carrick and Shannon Festival and stuff like that.
Probably would be.
He I've met him.
Sound Oshkin. I was hanging out
with him
a
few times. He's a DJ. Is he a radio DJ? Or
no, he was working for EMI for
that's
for
it.
years. And then I think he started his own record company or basically royalties. But big shout out to Rory and Johnny Hanley.
Big shout out to both sides. Yeah,
exactly. Do you remember the time I was on the Catherine Lynch show and I said to myself, right, I'm going to go on here and I won't have any wine or anything before going on, which wasn't a good idea. And I was well nervous, and you were the warm-up man for it. And I was like, God, this Fred Cooke is here. And I was watching you, and afterwards I was like, I remember talking to you in the Globe, and I was like, Fred, man, your warm-up skills are great. And I was like, do you ever run out of things to say? And he said, yeah, sometimes you might be like, where are you from? Galway. And then he went, fair play to you.
Is that what I was saying to you in the Globe? Or that's what you've seen?
But it was hilarious. Where are you from? Galway.
Yeah.
Are you living in Galway still? Are you back in Galway, or are you in Dublin? Where are you?
I'm in Kerry. I'm in Kerry at the moment. Yeah, like Julie and I, we stayed here. We were looking at places to move into around Dublin or around the periphery anyway.
Forget about it.
But then we said we'd come down here just in the meantime and get get some stuff together, some writing projects and stuff. And then, then this whole lockdown thing happened. So we're here anyway, which is strange and we're lucky to have it. Absolutely. We don't take it for granted. But some of the neighbours around here, now you go a few kilometres down, and they're very careful about people coming in and lockdown. They think there's a lot of, people in mobile homes and stuff like that. So I was driving by there last week, and you could hear this lady saying, "They're strangers. They're strangers."
Stay away. Get the pitchforks out.
Yeah. Now I've heard worse. I've heard stories about the word going around Dingle at the moment is that this lady from Dingle was asked her directions, and a mobile home came up. This couple with a mobile home, and there's an Italian registration on the mobile home. So they came.
Oh right, yeah.
They came all the way from Italy. Now this is just what I heard. This is hearsay in Dingle at the moment. And they were like, they wanted to get to the beach. So they're saying it in broken English, "Where's the beach?" And the Dingle lady's like, "No beach. COVID-19, no beach, no beach." And they're like, Joe,
I'm sure if you were to get chased out of Dingle in a mobile home, it's not going to be easy passage through the roads getting in there.
No,
but once all this lockdown shite is finished, drop into the marina to Thomas Kavanagh, tell him Maloney sent you.
Yeah.
He's a good lad, is Kavanagh. He's a good lad.
Yeah. Marina's lovely. Love it.
Yeah. It's so. Are you in Dingle?
We're actually the other side of the Connor Pass. The entrance is a selection of mountains, and in between is the Connor Pass. So we're the other side of the mountains,
right,
in Dingle. So yeah, we're like a 15-minute drive, 15 to 20-minute drive to Dingle.
Did you ever go snorkeling with Fungi the dolphin?
No, what I did when I was I did when I was 10, and
did you get touch?
We were on the marina there, and Julie says, "Oh, look, there's Fungi," when we did see a dolphin, but I'm not fully convinced that...
Do you reckon it was just a lad in a dolphin suit?
Exactly, the 40-year-old dolphin now at this stage. Like, exactly, yeah.
How long do they live for? What's the lifespan of the common bottlenose? Is it a bottlenose, is it?
Yeah.
Say, fucking...
have you guys gigged in Dingle or down south?
I was supposed to do a
gig.
You
guys did a massive tour.
Yeah, we did, and Owen went and did his own thing then, which was a bit unfortunate because we had a full... Did you come to Vicar Street?
No, I couldn't get that night. No. Did I? No.
Yeah, we were supposed to go on and do that, but then I think Owen just wanted to scratch his own itch, to kind of...
Yeah.
And in fairness, he's done very well out of doing his own gigs as well.
He did a Robbie Williams.
He'll come back yet, and we'll be like... Whatever I said, whatever I didn't mean it. Just the Hardy Bucks back for good. Yeah, I'm really missing filming the Hardy Bucks, man. It's been like 3 years since we filmed the series, and I just miss the crack with the lads in front of the camera. We'll have to get you in there.
Oh God, I was always so. I guess back then when you were filming Hardy Bucks, was it 2007, 2008, the initial ones?
Yeah,
and it was YouTube then for me personally that I would have loved to have been in them, like, and even the recent episodes, the episode with the swingers, oh my word, I was just crying laughing, like,
What was it? Wetzers.
Yeah, and even as Kevin McGahern was saying in his swim card, like, I guess in early stages he was just happy to be in it. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's this moment of crack, and like there was never any ego, and it's just a matter of putting the best joke forward.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you find it was hard? Did you find it was hard at times to, like when you do the movie or when you go to RTE, there's not enough time to mess around with that, to mess around and improvise, like find that.
But we as like Mike, when Mike took over as the director, he would always say, "Look, you got to stick to the script because you're being contractually locked into providing what's on the pages." But he would say, "But if you do a good job of the script, I'll give you your bowl of trifle afterwards." So the improvisation was the treat.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. Like RTE were like like my personal favorite out of everything. I think is the third series. And Eddie Doyle came down, and I said to him, "So Eddie, we were thinking about just kind of, doing a few ad libs here and there."
Yeah.
But, like,
Eddie Doyle was the head of entertainment in RTE.
Yeah, a prime time producer for prime time with Marion Callahan, and then he just produces comedy, and we're like, yeah, he went nuts, man, because I think he shit the bed a bit because we went off script, and but like I had like toured off in one ear saying, man, they're ruining everything, and then Mike in the other ear going, it's fine, mate, it's fine, and by the time it came out to the final edit, I was like, oh God, how bad is this going to be? And I was like, this is fucking brilliant, man. This is the finest stuff we did. I think I had a really nice balance. The fourth series, it was kind of like we had 2 episodes. Like we only had 4 episodes in the last one, and the 2 episodes I'd written didn't make it in, and they were going to be brilliant, man.
Yeah,
there's still. I mean, we still have them in case we have another one, but it would be. I don't know. I was thinking about maybe. Because everyone's onto me the whole time. It's Maura Hardy books, and I just keep saying I don't know, and it's really frustrating. And I think the other lads, I mean, I don't know if Chris is interested anymore. He's happy enough doing his own thing. He's live streams and he plays, plays video games and whatnot. But and I'd say I want to do it again. But I'm kind of thinking all these fans who want to see it, maybe it's best just to do like a GoFundMe or one of those Indiegogo things and just get together and say, okay, here's the budget, and unless we find like a sponsorship or else if Netflix will come back and say we'll give you X amount of money to make a new series, but it just feels like it's such a great cross section of modern day society that it's worth doing, and it's
exactly
like fun,
and it'll never grow old because like it's almost like Rossa Kelly thing, you know what I mean? Like you're growing with the actual characters. Do you know what I mean? Like you're not pretending to be lads moving to Galway anymore and stuff like that. You're like, but it's still fantastic and silly. Do you know what I mean?
Because you can still do daft shite within the boundaries of
age.
That's the thing I'm looking forward to exploring. Like lads have got kids now, and it's like I can't go out.
I'm
like, hey, you're not a true caner anymore, man. We're just botched trips. And I think the comedy
jealousy of freedom.
The jealousy of freedom,
yeah. Like, oh God, it must be great to be able to go to the pub and stay in bed till 12 the next day. That must be amazing. Sometimes like, I don't know. I've been doing it since I was born. I don't know. You know that?
It's so natural. I started writing the thing. I started writing the Hardy book, which it's scratching that itch for me, and I put them up on Patreon, and then I'll do a couple of YouTube streams on the channel, and I'll read a couple of extracts out of it. But it's nice to be. It's almost like going on holiday in your brain from Sweden. So I'll be writing away, and I see all these. Some of it is taken from real life experiences or like rumors from around the town. Like I don't know, what was the rumor mill like in Kells? Because in Swinford, man, the rumors like. Talk about growing legs. They're like fantastic rooms. Yeah. We addressed that then in series 4 with the Viper dying, and it was like, I heard he was killed by a rhino, man.
Yeah. God,
I started that one.
Yeah, it was worse in school, in secondary school in Cavan. You know what I mean? Because it really was like 15 lads in one corridor. Do you know what I mean? Like with 2 to a room, like so. But yeah, it was. There is that as well, like that. Just that whole '90s thing, It's I forgot what did you ask me before that? Sorry, Martin.
The rumor mill around town.
Yeah. But it's still like there was talk once when I did the Spar ads, there was a rumor went around my hometown that because my brother, I did these ads for Spar, and just for anyone who wouldn't know, like for that.
For a while there, you were like Fred from the Spar adverts.
Yeah.
Your first kind of foray into like the world of broadcasting, wasn't it?
Exactly, yeah. Or just a bit of notoriety, like being recognised for something, but my brother, a year after that, he started managing a pub at a very young age in Kells. And the rumor around Kells was I bought the pub with my Spar money.
Like people think that
haven't.
There must be people around Swinford thinking like on the side we're driving around in like Bentleys and stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think they don't understand that RTE. Like when you're working in RTE, it's like working in, I don't know, like Citizens Advice Bureau or something. It's really like when you go into the building of RT, it's just like going into like the tax office or something. It's not like Warner Brothers studio in LA.
Yeah,
it's just very much like, you know, people in office blocks, and you're walking around and like, what do these people do all day?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, there's just thousands of people in these, like, and the whole interior of the building is just like cast concrete, you know, like postmodernistic form from the 70s, which would have looked like cutting edge back in the day. But now it's just, there's not even any, some of the buildings you go into, there's no paint. It's just like drab concrete inside.
Yeah. Archaic.
It looks like a staff room in a shit school.
Yeah.
Which brings me back to Republicatelli.
Well, did you know, the funny thing about that is, you know, that one of the opening sketch scenes and that, do you remember Only in Ireland, one of the first sketches of that Only in Ireland, and we did one when it was me, you, and Salmon. Now, I was delighted because I was like, yes, I'm here. I'm literally working with the Hardy Bucks, being funny. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was so happy. That's all I wanted to do. Like, and it was like, do you remember that I was at a tan, and you went, fine tan there, Fred. Yeah. And you didn't say, Fred, that's a fine tan. And Salmon said, just drinking a can beside me. It's awful funny.
Great stretching.
Yeah. But there wasn't a corner of RTE that wasn't used for those Republicatelli sketches. Like when it comes to the toilets.
Do you know what it reminded me of, Fred? It reminded me of, you know, when you're in, like, I don't know if you went to media college, but when you're asked to do an assignment, but everyone just films these like little dramas around, like, oh no, she's pregnant. And it's just like the cafeteria in school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And everything was like sci-fi thriller in the corridor of Ballyfermot College. Yeah. It just kind of felt like, well, what are we going to do? And most, as you say, most corners of RTE were used in. But apparently, didn't Dermot Morgan have a show back in the 70s as well? A lot of it was just done on the grounds of RTE as well.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, Mike Murphy as well. Like a lot of the kind of candid camera stuff.
Did you ever see that Mike Murphy when he did that documentary in New York back in the 70s?
I've seen a documentary about that.
Yeah,
I've seen a section when he's improvising. He's in a big country Western music festival, and he's on the stage. And everyone's looking at him, and it wasn't planned. And he just starts making up a country song on the spot. That's the thing with Mike Murphy. Was an amazing improviser, like pure gifted. Like it's and naturally funny as well. And I just think I think a lot of these comedians just take a step back and become producers in the background and stuff like that. So
probably handier money.
Yeah, exactly. Less pressure.
Yeah. Have you tried to, you know, make it in the States or have any meetings over there with anyone? Did you ever try your claw?
No, I've gigged in the States twice.
Where did you do it? New York?
I did in Gotham City. It's the comedy club in Chelsea.
Was Batman there?
New York. Sorry?
Was Batman there?
Yeah.
Right joke.
But it's mad. Because there's loads of pictures Robin Williams up and stuff, and Belushi from SNL, the guy, one of the Blues Brothers.
Was it? Yeah, John Belushi was the one who was in
John Belushi, yeah. And Dan Aykroyd and stuff like that. And so it was, but you know, it was like putting, you'd forget. I forgot that I was in New York. Like at one stage, I says, I think I mentioned the Gael Talk, forgetting. It was like, you know what it's like at the Gael Talk, you know? Tommy Tiernan's got a great story about actually, coincidentally enough, playing in this comedy club in Gotham City. And this is true, like Tommy said it, and I think it might be in his DVD about it. He says that he was gigging in Gotham City, and Chris Rock turns up unexpectedly to try material. Now, the whole place is packed because they're all there for Tommy Tiernan.
Yeah.
And because he was like, seemingly people in Times Square look for anyone who remotely looks Irish and they'll flyer them. And so the whole place was packed, all there for Tommy. So then Chris Rock comes on before Tommy Tiernan and does around 10 minutes trying to get new stuff together. And no one really cares for Chris Rock. You know what I mean? Like, and there's these two lads up the front, Irish lads, who were talking. And Chris Rock goes, this is true, Martin. Chris Rock goes, first of all, goes, sorry, guys, could you keep it down? I'm just trying to do some new material here. Sorry, Chris. So then he continues, right? He keeps talking. And then these lads start talking again. And Chris Rock has to address it. So he asks one of them a question, and he goes, so this is in New York. He goes to these lads from Ireland. Chris Rock, he goes, where are you guys actually from? And one of them goes, Roscommon Town. It's just like, you know, like not even like not even Ireland. Where's town, Chris?
Roscommon.
God, that's a Tommy story. That's a Tommy.
Brilliant, man.
Funny, isn't it?
And you're on Tommy's show.
I am, yeah.
It's a sweet gig for a place here.
Oh, it's fantastic, yeah. And it's getting more simple in its. There's less. Like I remember, I was there for the production meetings when they were doing the pilot for the Tommy Tiernan show.
Yeah.
And I kept my head low. I didn't say anything because I had nothing really to give. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's Tommy's idea. Like he's the co-producer in it, and he was always like, I think because it felt like it was in the bracket of comedy. The Republic of Telly had just gone, so, and I don't know if it was seen as a replacement, but the Tommy Tiernan show was coming in just after it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think maybe they were trying to sell it as a new Republic of Telly, which is a bit wacky, and which the Republic of Telly were great at doing at times. And Tommy was like looking at all this stuff going, it's too busy. It's too much. It's not needed. And Tommy was kind of looking more at Parkinson. Do you know, that kind of 2 seats and a serious chat. And even at one stage, like, they've done a lot of effort in putting these trees around the stage stuff, you know, so it'd be kind of Western and wild. Yeah. Like, you know, you can almost picture Tommy as. And Tommy's like, there's no need for the trees. Like, we're like, okay, then, Tommy. And
apparently, Googie from Roisin Dove once told me that when Bon Jovi were playing at Slane, they wanted to land a helicopter like right on the stage, and apparently he goes,
wow,
we can't because of the trees. And apparently he goes into your man and goes, dude, lose the trees. So Tommy did a Bon Jovi on it. Apparently that's how. Maybe that was just Bon Jovi was so big at the time in the 80s, he could have just commanded a whole load of arborists. Take a load of 300-year-old oak trees out of the equation.
Funny, yeah. Take the castle away. Okay. Can I tell you something, Matt? Another fact about that, because no messing. And I think I told you this as well. I told enough people this, but that when Bon Jovi were playing Slane, I think it might have been 2013, 14, was Ham Sandwich were supporting them.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about this.
Yeah.
And you were also on stage with them, weren't you?
I was, yeah. I was playing. I was on the stage playing the glockenspiel. Now, for anyone who doesn't know what the glockenspiel is, Google it. It's the most tragic-looking instrument ever. It's not even like a xylophone, where you've got these big hammers and sticks. You know, like this is a tiny little metal thing. It's like those Helix pencil cases. If you got 26 of them and stuck them together with a different sound, this is what the glockenspiel is. And but Bon Jovi, or their backline, like all their equipment.
Oh, they were playing again.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. That's right. They were headlining that year.
They were headlining, yeah. But all their backline, all their like you know, the PA, even the amps, the stage itself, it was late arriving. For some reason, there was a storm, and then the ferry didn't come in time, so they were still making the stage just before Bon Jovi came out on stage at Slane. Like, this is no messing. And no one's ever said this, but we've laughed about it. That Ollie, who's playing the drums and Ham Sandwich, he was on stage and he couldn't hear himself drum because there's a lad just behind him with a screwdriver, like this, putting the stage together. And Ollie just turned around and went, hey, will you fuck off? To tell the lad to fuck off, you know? So it was great, because I always think, wow, I couldn't believe it. Like, I had dreams about playing Slane. And, you know, and I remember even a journey down, and I'd be so used to queuing out in the rain. But for some reason, this time I was in the car going in the back way behind the castle with the special passes and stuff. And it was really like, you know, I was like, this is like, it doesn't get any better than this. And I said, this isn't one of the best European festivals. Globally, one of the best festivals ever renowned. It's where everyone films their live shows and stuff. So the last thing I expected was a lot to be put the stage together when we were playing. Not only that, like, it's quite comical. There was someone doing tours of Slane. You can do tours of Slane Castle, and you have all these German people, 80 of them together, following this one guy around the castle and around the field. But while we were on stage playing, because you know the way these stages, especially Bon Jovi stages or U2, you've got the heart, which enables on the stage, which enables the performers to walk out into the crowd. Yeah. You've got this part of it which walks out. So while we were on stage playing, these around 30 German guys with this guy come out on stage and walked out on stage while we were playing and walked out in front of the audience and around. And we're like, who's going on? And he's like, yes, this is Slane Castle, and right now there's a band on stage. This is very famous, like in the middle of the actual gig. They had this tour guide come out on stage. Meanwhile, there was a like guy with a screwdriver trying to put this stage together. And I'm like, is this Slane Castle? Is this really Slane Castle? I stood too close to it.
You wait all your life for such an opportunity, and then that happened. But it was.
And then John Bon Jovi walks out, and the first thing he says is, he goes, first thing, John, no mess, and he goes, I love you, Dublin. Jet lag. No, he used the Dublin one. Oh man, Jesus,
Dublin,
it was brilliant.
I mean, it's mad. Like just to him, it's another gig. Do you know what I mean? It's like, where are we today? Oh, we're in Ireland. Okay, cool. They have Guinness there, right?
Yeah.
It's. Did you meet him? Did you meet any of the Bon Jovi?
No, we didn't. We left. Some of the lads were getting really drunk. Like we were hammered. Like you got to remember that we were on stage. We were on first. And so we were on stage from around, I'd say 3:00.
Yeah.
3:00. And at that stage, Bon Jovi come on stage around 8:30, 8:45. So we were drinking. we were like, we were well on it, 5 hours drinking anyway at that stage. Yeah. So I think we actually got a car and went back to. We didn't get a car and drive, but we got a lift back to Wheel. We were back to Whelan's that night.
Because I think Fred had invited me to that as well, and I was like, "Hey, can I get on the stage again?" But there was talk of like a minibus going back to Whelan's, and I actually have no idea what the hell I did that weekend. I mean, what was it like? How many years ago was it? 2014.
2000, yeah, around 2014.
I think I was in Sweden then, because I moved back to Sweden around then.
Yeah.
What was it? June, was it? Or? Because they keep moving Slane around. Like, I mean, is it once a year, or is there a couple of different headlines there in 1 year?
It seems to be. Joe Lord Harry Mike Charles said, and he does stick to it. He goes, sometimes you just can't get the acts to play it. They're not touring. I mean, like Slane it's 80,000 people, and when they do get the act, it sells out.
Yeah.
So. Like Bon Jovi didn't sell out that year, but 2 months later they had Eminem, and that did sell out.
That's sold out.
Yeah.
You know,
Eminem, yeah.
Yeah, so, fair enough.
So he sticks to that.
Did you go to the Guns N' Roses gig at Slane?
Oh, I did. Yeah, it's brilliant.
It was
brilliant.
Unreal. I think that's probably the best gig I've ever seen.
Yeah,
just because I was a huge Guns N' Roses fan as well.
And his voice is holding up, Axl Rose. It's brilliant.
Yeah. Well, do you remember when everyone was like, what's he doing singing for AC/DC? But I remember years ago thinking himself and Brian Johnson have the same high-pitch falsetto. So I was like, he's a perfect candidate.
But it's so hard to get a good volume when you go high falsetto. Yeah. Like, as we know when it comes to house parties, it quickly just becomes like a roar. Like if you can't hold it. So it's class. He's class one. He looks, and Slash hasn't. Well, I guess it's hard to age with if you can with black brunette hair and a cigarette and a hat.
Black on crack.
Yeah.
But also, I think he's off the beer for the last at least 15 years.
Yeah.
Same with Duff. I mean, Duff's pancreas exploded.
Wow.
Yeah, he was lucky to have met. Like I was even reading about Izzy Stradlin when he was talking about, like, they did so much coke, and he was talking. He confided in Steven Tyler from Aerosmith. And apparently, Steven Tyler said to him, "Yo, dude, have you seen the Worms yet?" He's like, "No." And then he said that he was just at his coke dealer's gaff, and I mean, you can imagine the amount that must have been doing. But he said he opened up a drawer that was full of like nuts and bolts, and it was just worms and maggots. And apparently, Izzy just knocked it all on the head. I mean, these guys had to. Have you seen the Motley Crue movie yet?
No, I've heard loads about it.
I thought it was great crack. It was like some people gave it bad reviews, but it's just I liked it. But I mean, I'm a fan of Motley Crue as well.
Yeah,
I actually seen them when they were on their other final farewell tour. I mean, I don't know how many more farewell tours they're going to have. It's like Ozzy Osbourne. But they did a gig here in Sweden, and Nikki Sixx had the flamethrower attached to the bass, and Tommy Lee was on the whole cage upside down and whatnot. But it was a great gig. It was just like I was coming back from training one night, and then I just went straight in there. I was like, this would have been a good one for a pack of rowdy lads. But it's funny because in Sweden, like, it's not like when I first came to Stockholm in 2003. Used to hang out at this nightclub called Rocks, and it was like a real hard rock place, and that's what really, because I was always into rock and roll, but it really it was a place where it was still contemporary and people got into it. But now that the numbers have dwindled, and you go to these rock bars, it's full of like sad cases. You're like, to see such youthful, rambunctious sounding music. It's just been relegated to the annals of obscurity.
Yeah, it's they're lonely buildings now, aren't they? Like,
they are lonely buildings, yeah. But they're great. But I always like the ethos of 80s rock. Did you ever watch this thing called Metal Evolution? It was about 9 years old now. But it was
bits of it. Yeah.
The one on Her Metal was brilliant, and actually another one that was really interesting was the one about grunge as well, about how Alice in Chains went on tour with Metallica, and people were just spitting at them. But they stayed throughout the whole gig defiantly, and they played on. And someone was saying, at the end of that gig, everyone who was at that Alice in Chains gig went out and bought their album, man. They were now Alice in Chains fans.
Yeah.
But were you into the old Alice in Chains crack?
Not really, no. I'm not really. I definitely like Nirvana. You look, when Nirvana released like Bleach or something like that, maybe 91, and then, or like Smells Like Teen Spirit, I was stuck between, I had a crazy diverse musical interest, and not like in a cool way. It was like
Mick Flavin.
I was mad into Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
But I was really getting into Nirvana.
That's right, actually. Someone said
it's that time of 91, Black or Dangerous album. That's when the whole grunge scene, it's not when it started, but it became very popular. Like around that time, like so.
That was at the time when do you remember the time?
Exactly, yeah.
And doesn't matter if you're black and white.
Slash
did the solo on that.
Yeah. Slash did the solo like 95. Later on, it was it wasn't. It was like 2001. It was the Michael Jackson did these concerts in Madison Square Gardens, and he did I think he did 2 nights, but he took the best of both to record one for a concert.
Yeah.
So. But it was like when you look at Guns N' Roses and stuff, it was the effort as well on time. Like I heard about a Metallica gig, and this is how they started the gig. I obviously I didn't see it, but what happened was these guys. You get the text, the guys doing lights and all this stuff, climbing up the ladders before the gig starts and all this. But they paid this stunt specialist. You might have told me this. Did you tell me this? They paid this stunt guy to go on the road with them, right? And what he would do was he wasn't really doing the lights, but he'd go up the ladder. And then the light would fall on him. And the place would go on fire. And it looked like there was a guy on stage on fire. And then with that, Metallica would just walk out and start playing their music. And that was the stage. You know what I mean? Like it was a pyrotechnic specialist and stuff like that. So then someone told me to see Darren McCausland, a friend of mine from my hometown. But he went to Canada for a year. He's highly intelligent, and he had to go after this special.
He could work for NASA.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's what they always say about intelligent people around Swinford. That lad's so smart, he couldn't work for NASA.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But he told me he seen Marilyn Manson once. And this is what Marilyn Manson, this is I think, genius. This is how he finished the gig, Marilyn Manson. This is how he did the encore. It's that he was on stage.
Massive gun fall on him.
Not far off, because he was always talking about gun culture, wasn't he, Marilyn Manson? Because he was always being attacked with it. Do you know what I mean? Because this is why people are killing themselves, because of Marilyn Manson. So what he did was on this gig he had this actor in the audience who put a gun to him in the audience and shot him.
Yeah.
And shot him dead, and he fell back, and then the lights went out, and there was panic. There's panic in the building. And then, maybe a minute later, just one light on the side of the stage in the middle of all the panic, and there's a coffin, and it opens up, and Martin Manson walks out of it. And like this is his encore. Do you know what I mean? Like
Brilliant.
that's crazy. Like the effort that people go through to give a performance.
You see, that's the thing. It's all about stagecraft, and it's all about coming up with those ideas. I mean, that in itself, it's one thing to be able to record and write hit songs, but it's another thing as well to choreograph. Like, actually, that's something that I was looking at some of your Dancing with the Stars, and like that must have, because. Is it true that back, like, someone's going to ask Fred to do the Michael Jackson dance? Didn't you have, like, when you class it, like, the moonwalk and all that kind of stuff? You could... Yeah.
Oh, I spent years as a kid, like, from 88 on, 87, 88. Oh, I was mad into Michael Jackson, and then it stopped, you know, because things with Michael Jackson that he took big breaks. He worked hard on albums. It took him 3 years to get an album right and music videos, and he'd come back looking completely different. So you go from 88 into that time we were talking about when grunge was taking off in the early 90s, 92. So Michael Jackson came back with the Dangerous album. So I went mad into him again. Do you know what I mean? And I used to think that the moonwalk, when you mentioned it, I used to think the moonwalk was trick photography or trick filming. You know, it's like it's special effects. And but then I seen a guy called Jamie Mackin do it in my hometown. And like I was 9 or 10. And I started crying. I was like, I can't get my head around this. It's like looking at a lad fly. Yeah. But I was so jealous that I couldn't do it. I was so jealous that I couldn't.
Did you ever master it?
Sorry?
Did you ever master it?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I did. I'm not doing it now because I'm in my chocks.
I tried to a few times. It was like,
yeah.
There was something else along the lines of Michael Jackson that I wanted to... Oh, yeah. Do you know Paddy Dunning? He owns Grouse Lodge.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Michael Jackson went to stay with them.
I do. I know all the stuff. Yeah.
Did you hear about the time they were driving through Crumlin and Michael Jackson was in the back of the car and he goes, "Paddy, what is this place? I like this place. I'd like to have a house here." And he started waving at some lad at the traffic lights along the canal, and he goes, "What the fuck are you looking at, you weirdo?"
So Grode Farley told me, I was listening to Grode's Instagram lives, Grode Farley, comedian, and he was saying about, this is true, that there's two stories. One is Michael Jackson related. I think when Paddy Dunning was driving, and they're on the M4 driving back to Grouse Lodge Studios, or Grouse Lodge Estate. And Paddy was kind of running short on petrol, so he drove into one of the Essos, or Texacos at the time. And Paddy was like, "Here, I'll just have to get some petrol." And Michael's like, "I'll get this. So Michael Jackson gets out of the car and goes into like a Texaco off the M4.
And just buys a yolk and a Milky Way crispy roll.
Exactly. Imagine that in the queue. Like, I often think when I'm on the M4.
So he did. He went in and paid.
He did. He used his credit card and all that. I want to get I want to get €60 unleaded petrol.
20 pence.
Yeah, and a jam bomb. But David Doherty said, because I was saying this to David Doherty, and he says, "Could you imagine the pub? I think it was around it would have been around Lucan maybe or somewhere like that. Could you imagine the pub?" Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in Fox Hunter, yeah. Imagine the chat in the pub that night if you were working in there going, you never guess who came into the shop today. But you couldn't think of it. And who came in? And you're like,
Jedward.
Who? Yeah, exactly. Or who's that lad who did the moonwalk back in 1984? That lad came in, what?
Moonraker, was it?
Yeah. But then Grode Farley was telling me that, sure, I think it was Carnarvon in Galway. She was in Carnarvon in Galway. And she went into a shop. Carnarvon, is it?
Kinvara,
yeah. That's there's my dyslexia coming out. It's all the letters in the wrong way.
Kinvara.
Yeah, Kate Canaveral in Galway. And but she went into a shop.
Moonraker lives there.
He smokes 20 bents in a week. Only a week. Cut down on him. He's cut down on him, fair play, like.
He's on the 10s.
Yeah. But that's what happened. She went into a shop. And then when she left, everyone was stunned. And then an hour later, this lady went to the manager, came in, and the lady working behind the counter said, "You know," this is where she goes, "You never guessed what was in this shop an hour ago." And the manager goes, who came in? And she went, Michael Jackson. She thought sure it was Michael Jackson.
I suppose they probably have a mixing bowl worth of plastic in their face between them.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Kind of. Now that's what Gerard Farley said on his Instagram live. So
who's the most famous person you've ever met?
Robin Williams. No messing, like
Robin Williams.
And it was very briefly. It was in 2011, and I was in New York, and I went to see Billy Elliot the musical, and we tried to get tickets. Robin Williams was in a play at the time, a large kind of contemporary play off 7th Avenue, and it was about him being a tiger or something like this, half man, half tiger.
Yeah.
And so he had a big beard on him at the time, massive beard. So I left Billy Elliot the musical, and honestly, I remember my iPhone at the time and no battery on my phone. It was more or less that night. You're on the plane, I couldn't get a charge, there's no battery on my phone. And so I come out of Billy Elliot with my mates, 3 mates, and my mate Johnny goes, Fred, Robin Williams is just up there right now, like. And I ran up, and there was loads of people all in, and he was giving us time. Do you know what I mean? And he was doing this thing. It was amazing actually. He was like, where are you from? And someone would say Germany, and he'd start doing this German accent.
What's coming town?
yeah. And Robin Williams like, are they still fracking? And,
you ever open that A&E again?
Well, he probably does with Crystal Dowd now. You know, he's kind of pushed. We're coming on the map. And but also, yes, there's loads of people. And then I says, he asked me like, where am I from? And I said, I'm from Ireland. And he was very careful with the Irish accent because it's a hard one to get right, isn't it? Yeah. Because if you get it wrong, it's almost like Paddy Wackery. It's stupid. Yeah. It's a hard, like Brad Pitt, I think, I don't know. It's a hard one to get right anyway. And
apparently, just sorry to cut you off there. Apparently, Vinnie Jones took Brad Pitt to a halting site in London.
Did he?
That's the word on the street there.
You'd well believe it, wasn't it? And I wonder how long he stayed there for.
Travelers.
Yeah. But then I just says, like, there's a strange audacity in me. All I said is, Robin, how are you? I'm from Ireland, and we really love you over there, like. And he just went, oh, thanks. But it was like, who am I, the spokesperson? They paid me. The Irish Embassy paid me to go over to say how much. But I did. I loved Robin Williams. It's probably why I do comedy. Like, so to meet him. But it was a moment, and I had no phone on me, which is fine, because I know my heart and soul I did. And it was.
Do you know what, Fred? You'd make a brilliant president of the country. I'd say. I mean, the thing is, you'd probably have a good shot at getting it.
You need to be associated with a political party, don't you? Like, that's the rules.
Yeah,
to be in it. Like,
there's not a great lot to choose from, is there?
No, exactly. Yeah. Mind you, like the whole new coalition now of Sinn Féin. No, it's the Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael party with a bit of Green Party in it as well. Like,
but haven't they? So what happened? Like Sinn Féin, they won, but then
they didn't win, but they came close to it. They just didn't get the majority on the votes. They did. They really they didn't put enough people forward. That's the problem. Like, they didn't put enough. If they put more people forward to go, even as in, on their party, because they were winning across the board, it just was enough of them.
Yeah.
So, and even at that, they nearly got it. So, but Fianna Fáil, they didn't do that well at all at the time, or Fine Gael. So, but they got enough between them to get a majority. So this is what's happening now.
In fairness, between the two of them, they've pretty much fecked up the country. Just from an observational basis, just like we're supposed to be living in a tech. The country is supposed to be one of the most booming GDP countries in Europe, but it's kind of doesn't really translate to the people on the street. It's like it's just a place where tech companies use it, and it's like, we'll just chill here. Cheers, lads.
Exactly. Like, even when you like driving in, like, because anytime I'm in Kells, I drive to Dublin on the M3, you can see the new Facebook building, and it's just massive. It's a massive field. It's like one of the biggest buildings I've ever seen.
Really?
And and I think it's just going to be for storage, for information storage.
For hard drives.
Like, there's no one going to be employed.
Well, maybe you might get a job cleaning. Apparently, has the best climate for keeping hard drives, but at the same time, you can't think it was quite damp. I mean, if you've been to some gaffs around the country, like student accommodation. Exactly, I remember Owen lived in a place in Harold's Cross for a while, and think we just came back from doing the Leeds and Reading Festival himself, toured off himself in Gahan. And he was staying in this place in Harold's Cross, like back 2013. And I was knocked by the smell of like damp.
Yeah.
When I went into the room and the whole fucking wall was just covered in black mold. And I said, that's not like the lads who live there as well. I said, this isn't safe, man. You get pneumonia from that.
Yeah, from the mold.
The mold. It's the black mold, man. Oh, it's bad stuff. It's like the black ice.
Yeah.
Dodgy. Out to get you.
Yeah.
Doesn't like, no.
No.
So how did you enjoy working with Dave McSavage?
Yeah, I loved it. Like David, I think it was so, I couldn't actually, some of the sketches, like I don't have too many talking scenes in Savage Eye, in fact, very little. And I think the reason for it is because I had one scene and it come out, it's shown in the best of the Savage Eye. It's this little scene and it's me being a farmer. I was called Poddy and a big curly hair in me. And my brother was John Cleary in the sketch. And Pat McDonald was kind of a showbiz priest, 60s, going around with the microphone, asking people around rural country questions, making fun of the simple life.
Yeah. And
so the sketch was for me is that I'm the spokesperson for my brother who was dressed up as a woman ironing clothes in the countryside. And then Pat McDonald as a priest chatting to me. And I had a few lines, but I couldn't stop laughing. I actually couldn't stop laughing. And I tried to breathe heavy to not laugh. And like the director fucked a pen at me. He fucked a pen at me. Yeah, he fucked it on the ground beside me. He's like, we got annoyed. And he was right to it. Like I found it so funny, the situations in the Savage Eye, like the way Pat could just do a showbiz priest and then to turn around and see the face of John Cleary. It was just so kind of, I just found the whole thing hilarious. It was so kind of out there. And so, after that, I got a few gigs with it. You know what I mean? Like, but I could never really act on it because I kind of fucked that one up.
Did you do anything with Pictorial Weekly?
Sorry?
Did you have anything to do with Pictorial Weekly?
No.
Yeah, that was very funny as well.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah. Absolutely brilliant.
I remember there was this, he did like this. Can't remember the name. It was like a country music piss take he was doing, but they had like him, obviously he was in front of a green screen and they're filming all this mad stuff. Yeah. Just like two black Labradors who've been let off the lead and they're just running around some streets in the back. It was beautifully random.
Do you remember Eleanor Tiernan's news reporter? Being the news reporter outside the Four Courts.
Who's Eleanor Tiernan now? I must have a little.
She's in London, so you'll have to do a lockdown chat with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tiernan. And what's she at now? Is she working on TV over there? Is she?
Well, she was gigging. Yeah, I think she's gigging in London loads. She's been over there now 5 years, I'd say.
Oh yeah, I recognise her. Yeah.
So yeah. So God, yeah. Do you remember this Irish Pictorial Weekly? That scene when this guy went to the Garda station looking for help, and you can hear music going on, and the guards are dancing in the office backstage, dancing like that, like kind of that's how they fill up their time. Like it's awful funny. And then it just shows them opening up the door, looking out into the counter where the lad is. And then they just close the door again. Like,
I remember in 2004, I was outside Supermax in Ayr Square, which isn't for the faint-hearted, late at night. Yeah. And there was some lad, I had a skateboard with me. Some of those, hey, you want a fucking skateboard? I can skate. And there was boys falling off the skateboard, and it was becoming a liability. But at the same time, you didn't want to be too assertive with them because you were kind of thinking, oh, they could kick off.
Yeah.
And next thing, the guards come and seize the skateboard, and I was like, "Look, it's my skateboard," And he goes, "Look, go down to the station and you can pick it up." So I went down to the Mill Street station, and I seen your man in the car anyway. And he goes, "Right, the skateboard's in there, and I'll go and ask at the reception to give it back." So I go into the reception. I said, "Yeah, I'm here to pick up my skateboard." And he's like, "There's no skateboard handed in here. No skateboard." I went, "Well, I was just talking to your colleague in the car, and he said you had the skateboard." All right, so just took out the skateboard and gave it to me. Like, how many other lads would have just had, like, you don't really see many skateboarders in Galway anyway. But like, what were the odds of me trying to, hey, skateboards, man? Did you spend much time in Galway back in the day?
I lived here for a year and a half.
Yeah.
And,
when was that?
and yeah, I guess with gigging and stuff as well, I always travel a lot for gigs. But I lived from 2016 to halfway through 2017. I lived in Galway, in Castlelawn Heights, that massive estate off the Headford Road, and I was actually there as a kid at a house party, and so it was it was grand. I just decided to, because the nice thing about gigging is when you start gigging, once you drive, you can gig anywhere. Do you know what I mean? So because of that, you can live anywhere.
Yeah.
So,
did you ever get it when you started driving and relatives would say to you, you won't know yourself now that you're driving?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you'll be a new man.
New man, yeah. Like, hey, do you want anything from the shops?
Exactly, because I'm not allowed to drink anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Got to be responsible.
Exactly, yeah.
Remember in the old days, it's like, don't take the fifth.
Brilliant. Yeah.
I mean, 4 pints, man. That'd be you're talking Healy Ray country there, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It was an ad for RTE, and it was the gear stick was number 5.
Yeah.
Don't go for that 5th pint.
Yeah. Well, you can, but make sure you've had dinner. Yeah. But like, that was all the rage, like when you were a kid, like hopping into the car and like, you know, your parents would be or your dad would be locked at the wheel.
Yeah.
And you know what? Steady old pilots.
Yeah. I know, I was talking to this 7-year-old guy, and he told me that he had his wedding, and it's at 12 o'clock in the day, and then they were in the hotel all for 1 o'clock. And he drank till 1 a.m. And then he drove to Dublin Airport because he'd an early flight for his honeymoon, and everyone was waving him goodbye from the hotel. And his argument was, we were just better at swerving back then. We were just better at swerving. And
I suppose the cops weren't as fast either.
That's the thing, yeah. Cars weren't as exactly, and you could hear cars. They weren't slick and silent. They were loud and awkward.
Like Teslas.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
These electric cars, man, they creep up on you and you have no idea they're coming. It's just that.
Yeah.
That thing was doing a good 100k.
You go, they fly by you and you're like, God, there's a bit of a breeze. There's a bit of a breeze going on around. Did you feel that?
Was it a ghost, was it? What kind of mount are you driving?
Oh, me, I'm driving I have to change my car now because I'm becoming a dad in September. Did I tell you that?
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
Oh,
I should have really mentioned that.
I love other lads who become dads and like, welcome to my life.
Exactly, yeah.
Brilliant, man. Fair play.
I'll be looking for hand-me-downs.
Yeah, plenty then.
So, for the moment, I've the tiniest car. It's like a tin, and I love it because you can really feel the road. It's what is it now? It's an 05 Hyundai, Chinese import. Like you can't even read the instructions because it's all Chinese, and it's one of these cars. Now it's breaking down. Like the car I had previous, it was a Toyota Yaris Verso. It was kind of like a van car. Good crock. I had a few of the Hardy Bucks actually in it sometimes doing gigs, and but the car got so bad that I could only open it from the outside, so I had to bring the window down on the electrics. I put my hand out.
Like this through the window. It's like when you get stuck in a car with child locks on and you have to like, don't worry, I'll do it myself. But then you're like, oh, where is the handle? It's like on an Alfa Romeo or something where the handle's like back here.
Exactly, yeah. Or a road. And then this one I had to sell. This one I had to get rid of the car. The electrics went in the car completely. That it locked me in. I was locked in the car. I couldn't open it. Couldn't get out. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Apparently, the lads from Foilons and Hog are doing great coin altogether. They're now driving around in Audis and stuff.
Are they? Wow. So, yeah.
Fair play to them.
They're amazing, aren't they? Like, and it's the whole.
They're doing their own thing because I think.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing with Ireland. It's just like. They just don't have the resources to make comedy anymore. I mean, what's coming out of Ireland at the moment in terms of comedy?
Yeah, well, I think it's all about a script as well. Now I know, like it's our time to improvise, having time to record, and so at the moment, there really isn't any Irish comedy shows at the moment. Like there's internet stuff. Okay, like there's Owen's new chat show, which is good. I've seen that by the fire. Yeah. It's funny and it's different. You know, it's definitely trying to be. I'd say Owen had a lot of leeway with it himself.
Yeah.
Sure, it's more or less here. It feels like we want you to.
Would he have shot that in the studio? Would he?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
See, I went into RT a year ago and tried to pitch an idea called The Hard Word, which is basically like a Hardy Bucks chat show that would have been really irreverent, and like there was like a section in it called The Wheel of Krull, which was basically didn't matter if it was the presenter, the guest, or one of the, you'd have like different stations where you'd have like the weapons with Boo, like each character had their own weekly section, and you'd bring in guests to speak. But there was the Wheel of Krull, which was an unpredetermined wrestle with a guy who just was wearing like a red suit and a mask, and he was kept in a cage, and then like you'd have to like wrestle the Krull, this pro wrestler, for a minute. So you could have had like Michael D. Higgins or someone wrestling this unit, and it didn't matter who it was. So you just had like each person's face would be on the wheel. But like I think I took it to like RT Entertainment, and I realized when I was in,
I would have loved to be there for the pitch.
Well, the pitch went well. But sometimes one of my biggest mistakes is I talk too much. Sometimes I end up saying too much then, and I'm like, I'm losing them.
Yeah.
Whereas it was amazing to see how Tordov used to be in meetings with people, because he would just say nothing. And I'd go, and it kind of, I think his silence was, people were like, oh, this lad's serious. And I'd do all the talking. I'm like, I'm doing a great job. And I'd be like, could you mind, Chris, if you get rid of Martin and I just talk to you on the quiet?
Yeah.
We can talk business.
Yeah.
Have you heard from him lately?
No, I was just asked about him this morning. So I haven't. What's he at like? He's in England, is he?
No, he's still in like in Mayo, and he just he streams YouTube channels, or it's YouTube. I think he's happy enough doing that. No, I haven't spoken to him for ages. Like, it'd be nice to get him on the podcast. I don't know if he would, especially, I don't know how he'd feel about being out of character.
Yeah.
No,
he's never done anything out of character, has he?
No. He did one. I think he did a Republic Telly thing where he was playing a magician and was hilarious.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that he's funnier. I mean, like he's funny in real life, but it took me a long time to get out of the character, because it's easy to hide behind the character. But now I'm myself. It's so liberating. Like, I mean, just go straight back into it and be like, yeah. But I always wanted to get out of character, and it's a bit confusing, because sometimes, like with the Hardy Bucks podcast, like I should have really maybe had a Martin Maloney podcast and then kept the Hardy Bucks podcast in character.
Yeah.
But I might just do another one called the Eddie Turkin podcast or something.
Do you ever accidentally break out of character into your voice?
Yeah, actually, I noticed, and I've seen there's two times where me and Chris did it. The time Chris did it is at the pool party in the second series, where he's in front of the episode and he goes, "Don't fuck it up, don't fuck it up." And I was like, "That's." And then there's a time when in the third series, I'm doing like a talking head to camera, and I think I said something like, so it all worked out well in the end. And I was like, that's pretty much just my accent. I don't know how I managed to get it to sit through, but I think that's just one time you can hear it.
Yeah,
that's the other thing. Like, that's quite difficult. Like, all the other lads, they get to keep their native accents, whereas me and Chris, not only are you thinking about like learning lines, it's also we're doing it all in a. Because there's certain words that are like in the Irish vernacular that are difficult to, like you say, 33.
I know.
There's
a lot of SHs. Hey, isn't there? There's a lot of that going on.
Shut the world and let me off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you ever be head bopping to Declan Ernie and the boys?
Oh man, I love Declan Ernie's videos. They're those I actually love watching them. Or even Richie Cavan videos. I don't know, but Richie Cavan. That was
really one with Savage did. I was talking about that.
Oh man.
Yeah. Did you ever punch a woman? Do you ever punch a woman? You ever punch a woman in the face? He's a brilliant character, Dave. Like, hopefully when all this lockdown, I mean, I think the best thing for us all, right, as a group of comedians, is to come together and write. I think we all, like myself, yourself, Colgan, McGahern, Barry Murphy, Tommy Tiernan, John Cleary, Marion Callahan, and a couple of other big names. Miriam Kalana. Over that, like I think if we just get together and then and Chris, if he's up for it, just do a sketch show, man. Like just everyone submit a couple of different ideas into the pot, and then just put it on YouTube.
Yeah,
exactly. I'm sure we all have enough resources and equipment between us to do it.
Yeah, definitely.
Should we do that today, Fred? We just make an effort to just make a sketch.
A lot of. Hold on, sorry. There's some music there. Sorry, I think that was my laptop. I think there's. Yeah, it's harder now, isn't it? Because everyone's so independently busy, and not even independently busy, but independently doing their own thing and
diversifying.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be very hard when you look at those Republic of Telly sketches. The fact that you had you had yourself and Owen as well. Owen wasn't in too many of the early ones. He wasn't in the but you had Chris, and you had like the Rubber Bandits. Yeah. And even I
mean that really helped to launch them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Republic of Telly.
It'd be very hard to get all those people now, in ways
but
it's a charity. It's
when you've been at it for years as well, you kind of become a bit cynical, or like in the beginning when someone had said, should we do this? Everyone would have just leapt at the chance just to be on something that was going to make it onto TV. And now we've all had a fair bit of exposure. We're all kind of like,
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what I was trying to say. Like
we just turned into a bunch of hacks.
Yeah, exactly. Because remember all those periods when you weren't filming and you were just sitting around drinking coffee, having a chat, having a laugh. And what would those chats be like now? Well, after my second series, I was like, I wouldn't have.
After I bought the BMW, it was brilliant.
Exactly. Yeah, I still be having chats. I've nothing to talk about. I'd be going for the coffee.
It'd be like that was the great thing about filming Hardy Books as well, because it's just the crack that you had in between, and it was brilliant. Like, funny enough, your man who played Angelo Quaid, fucking Steve, I can't remember his fucking name off the top of my head. Steve Brody. Sorry about that, Steve.
Yeah.
Because the guy who was supposed to go, there was this guy we met called Derek Lyons, and he was actually in Star Wars and Indiana Jones, but he'd get these really small roles as like featured extra almost. But he'd be going around to all these conventions with like signed glossies of himself from like 30 years ago. And I was working in the Liffey for a while after I moved back here to Sweden, this Irish bar. And my mate John O'Kearns, who played Robbie O'Schnochter, we were both in. He goes, Martin. He goes, Derek, this is Martin. He's famous back in Ireland. He's an actor. He's like, oh, yeah, you're an actor, are you? I was like, yeah, yourself? Oh, yeah, I've been loads of stuff. Been in Star Wars. I was like, yeah? He goes, yeah, I do my own stunts and everything. So then we came up with the idea after this for writing a convention episode. And then Derek was all up for being in it, but there was a line in it that said, I used to do this back in the old days, but George Lucas, he's a bit of a prick. And then when he read the script, he's like, well, actually, George Lucas was very, very good to me, and I always had a great time for George. So I'm going to have to decline. So he pulled down. We're like, shit, we don't have anyone. Then we were myself and Mike were having a bit of a chat.
Did you not get someone? Did I not see a Hardy Bucks episode when you do have someone who was kind of recognized from years ago in something in a glittery outfit, second series or something like that? He's mates with the Buzz. The Buzz was bringing him around the place, or.
Oh, that's that's Pat Kirby.
Yeah.
Pat, he was just like the local boxing trainer.
That's it. Yeah.
Pat Kirby. What was it? All expense trip to Enniscrone, man. Or was it a Beaver? What was it? Elton John and the Big Five. I don't know where Chris was pulling it out from. But yeah, we got your man from Life's Too Short and The Office, and Steve Brody, and he's brilliant getting him in. He just fitted in so well, and of an evening, like, he'd be sitting around the Gateway Hotel and like playing guitar and having pints. It was just great fun.
Yeah,
and you wouldn't be paying for food or anything. It was class.
Yeah.
Do you want the cheesecake? Yeah, we get the cheesecake. I always put weight on when we're filming Hardy Books as well. For the pints.
That's walking around eating stuff, pints and biscuits.
Pints and cheesecake.
Yeah.
Like a bit.
But there must be that feeling, like if you're for me, and it's a hard thing to keep alive, but you do have to keep it with comedy. If you're not enjoying it, well, then you're missing the point.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, so
yeah.
So that just keeping that group together and the laughter, like, did it get harder the ladder it went on, like?
Well, the funny thing is, when we were filming series 4, because we went so off script on the 3rd series, like we had our wings clipped and we kind of we didn't enjoy it as much as series 3. Series 3 was the closest thing to the early days of YouTube that we had.
Yeah.
If we were to do another series, it would have to be just go back to ad-libbing and just making stuff up on the day, because it's pure magic. Like we have because we know each other for years and we know exactly. It's almost that, and you're trying to be as outrageous as possible to make the other one laugh. When you're kind of locked into a script, sometimes you kind of lose that spontaneity. It's that feeling of anything can happen.
Yeah.
You know, and when you're kind of bound to a script, you kind of feel a little bit hemmed in.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like, I know I did a sketch for Republic Italia, which didn't go out, but it was right. It was really crap. But I had a friend of mine who turned 70 this weekend, and in my hometown, and he's always given out about the town, all about the politics and stuff like that, about how's he allowed to park his car across the road there? He doesn't even own that. You know, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. It really, he's got a grudge. And but it's funny. It's funny grudge. So the whole sketch was that how did locals feel about the book of Kells not being in Kells and going around chatting to different people? That's the whole premise of it. And so I go to him and I go, how do you feel? And he starts giving out about the lad across the road and this lad who's not paying his taxes and this nothing to do with the book of Kells. You know what I mean? Like, that's the whole job. And I go back to him.
Give out, like.
Exactly, yeah. And it would just be him going, and then it would go back 5 minutes later. I'm just there beside him, and he's just giving out. But for some reason, now this is my fault as well. I had no preparation or script. I said, so you just start giving out to the camera like you do when I'm like when the camera's not on. And for some reason, when the camera went on, he started putting on this big American accent. Well, I gotta tell you, let me tell you about Billy Jones and stuff. And I'm like, why are you talking like that, Jimmy? Just be yourself. Just do yourself. And sometimes if you're taken out of your habitat, the fun's taken out of it. Then you know, if there's put into it.
I often find that like I could do something really funny when the camera's not on me, and then someone's like, "Oh,
exactly."
go that," and then you're too self-aware. Or
yeah. I really struggle with that. Like acting, even for little. Like I'm doing a few short videos with Julie here around the house, and but you know, she go 3, 2, 1, and then she's like, Fred, why are you talking like that? Like, that's not what I said. You know, it's like that movie that was filmed in Trim, Fatal Deviation.
Fatal Deviation, yeah.
You know, it's a bit forced. And
have you seen it lately? Because
I've seen it. Yeah, I watched the first 3 quarters, and then I kind of left it.
Yeah, it's it's like when you watch The Room, like you're watching it, and then after a while you're like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Have you seen Taffin? That's brilliant, man. I love the way Taffin was a film that was an American blockbuster set in like Wicklow or wherever it was. Yeah. Just like this, I've probably talked about this on the podcast before. But for anyone who hasn't seen it, there's a clip, right? Or there's a scene where there's just like a strip joint. And it's like there's a strip club in daytime in some small Irish town in the 80s. But there's a scene where you got like a load of farmers sitting around this table, and they're obviously extras from the town who've been brought in. There's just one lad who's playing it really cool like this, but you can see his knee under the table going. The knee is going 90.
Yeah.
One of the funniest fucking scenes, man. Please check it out if you get a time. Like Taffin strip club scene.
But you know, I always thought, as a friend of Neil said to me, so I didn't actually think of it. He go, like, do you remember the movie Disclosure? Lads in American movies, there were such, like when it came to like our late 80s movies, those kind of seedy, soft porn 90s movies. And like when it came to the extras or those lads in the strip club, they're always so goofy, and they're always like, they're always such hubba, and be like putting all the money, but they're always like clowns, like it wasn't even a sexual thing, like they're like idiots, like, and which really didn't, like, you know, it's like I'd imagine like the reality of those strip clubs, not that I've been in one, but they're just more kind of lonely and
just lads eating their dinner while there's a woman topless.
Yeah.
I mean, America's a mad spot. I'd like to go to like the middle bit of America. Like when I was watching Tiger King, for example, I was looking at it. I was like,
yeah,
this looks like great crack.
yeah.
But I'd say it's a lot like rural Ireland. You know, it's like you can probably get like your head kicked in handy enough for talking to people and like, we don't take kind of your folks around here. But on the other hand, you know, like I think the South gets a really bad rep from like the American, you know, from like the media. They just portray like anyone from the South as being hillbillies, but they're actually really mild mannered and polite. I was driving back from Las Vegas, fucking 2011, and I pulled into this gas station, and there was these lads working in this petrol station, and they're like, "Where are you from, buddy?" And I was like, "I'm from Ireland." "No way! What are you doing over here?" I was like, "Oh, I was in LA there, and I was having a few meetings, and I have a TV show in Ireland." And they're like, "Oh yeah, what's it called?" So it's called The Hardy Bucks. "Oh, I'll check that out." And then it became apparent that they were like evangelical Christians. They're like, "God bless you, sir," and may the Lord bless you. So may the Lord bless you too. And and I was like, these lads are gonna have a good time watching Hardy Bucks, like karaoke episode where the Vipers go. That was I mean, like I felt so close to making it big just before Biddy came along, my daughter. I remember I thought, right, I'm going over just to see what I could have had. You know, and I went to like Second City in Hollywood, and I met this guy called Harvey, who was the head of like Shine Media from Americas, and then he did like they were doing like the American Office, and I went into the meeting. I was hanging out with the writers of the American Office, and they're like, "Oh man, we love the Hardy Bucks, man. The Viper, that guy's hilarious." And I was like, "It's so close," but for me, it just seemed like too much hassle, man. It was like you need to get someone to, you need to pay money to get someone to fix your O1 visa, and I knew that I didn't have the money for it, and it just seemed like that's about like some people like saying it's about 20 grand, and I was like, I had a few quid but it wasn't enough to just pay someone. Like I would have been broke with a newborn baby, and and then I would have like, well, the good news is I have a visa for America, but I guess I'll just have to leave you in the lurch and go over there for 6 months in the hopes that I get an agent. But I might try and go back over again, but it's just, I have 2 kids now, and and you'll find out yourself, like, the longer you're away from your children, you're like, well, this is time I'm not of their youth, and I'm not going to get back. So I just enjoy, like Tom Pagallon, he's got 3 kids now, and he used to always be like ringing me up, going, "Martin, what do you do if your child's doing this and that?" And nowadays I'm like, "Tom, you're on level 3, man. You're now ahead of me."
Exactly. Yeah. So no, the third kid, you're always relaxed about the third kid, isn't it? They could be walking along the rocks on the beach. She's grand. That one, like, So I was thinking there yesterday, it's always the first kids, not that there's anything wrong with that kid, but the first kid's the one with the big news impact. Everyone knows. Like, I'd say, I was thinking of a situation if you met your friend and they just had their second kid, and you're like, "Oh yeah, well done," and like the kid's called Aloysius or something, a big name you wouldn't forget. And instead, you're like, "How's Stephen?" The first lad.
Funny, I was just going to say, "How's Stephen?"
You know what I mean? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's always the first. You'll never beat the news. It's the best news story ever. Yeah. Like the second kids. Like I've got middle child syndrome now because my older sister she's wonderful. She's in the front line working in Galway at the moment and stuff. But it was such a big deal for her when I came along. It was grand, and then there's a 7-year gap between me and my younger brother. So Timmy was the big news surprise.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it's always that. It's the second kid syndrome.
Yeah.
Are you? Where do you stand?
So I've got 2 older sisters and 1 younger, but I was the only boy, so I was like, that lad's spoiled.
Yeah, exactly.
I got my own room and everything. I was like, class. So funny enough, I have a podcast with my older sister, but I just got to kind of cut it together. I was supposed to go out before this, but it's just getting the time. Like this. So I've got to figure out how to get this from Zoom onto Logic and then put that up as a podcast. But I'm going to put this up on Maloney's Digest, which is my YouTube channel.
Good man. Yeah.
I neglected YouTube for ages because I had like the Eddie Durkin Facebook page. I'm not really on that often. It's like Facebook just got too convoluted. It's just like ads and shite. Yeah. And, it's just not a very good platform anymore. I think YouTube is still the number one engine for anything, and you know you can make a living off it if you get a sizable enough audience.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you be playing any video games or anything these days?
Oh, I've got the Super Nintendo. Exactly, yeah. I just love
the Switch, have you?
Platforms. No, I haven't got the Switch. No, I'm quite retro now. I've got the Super Nintendo Mini. So it's
and
like,
do you have SNES games on that as well?
I do, yeah.
Brilliant.
And I've got the Nintendo Mini as well.
Because you can't think to yourself. Because I'm like, I'd love to get like the old Mario games, but then I'm wondering if you'd have the patience for them nowadays.
Yeah, well, the thing is, you need the thing is with the Super Nintendo now that you can save your levels. You can die, but still have your levels saved.
Yeah.
You know, so it was just impossible for me to clear games back then.
Did you ever play that Alex Kidd in Wonderland, or what it was called? It was like when you got the Sega Master System 2.
Yeah. It
was like the inbuilt game. I never completed it, but it was always you had these henchmen. It was like rock paper scissors with them.
Yeah.
And like it was always boo, 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 boo. You were dead.
Exactly. You had no time. You had no time to learn the others people's moves. You just died, and then you had to start again. Like it was heartbreaking.
I've been playing the remake of Resident Evil 2 lately.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I was just like, this game is just ridiculously scary, man. It's not even fun. And did you ever play the original on the PS1?
No, never.
Because there's this character, I think it was called the T-90 in the original, now he's called Mr. X, and he's just this massive, like, 2.5 meter tall dude who wears like a leather trench coat, and he's just got this like really leathery face and a hat, and just turns up at the most inconvenient of times. And if you play it wearing headphones, you can hear him like walking around, and you know he's nearby. But after a while, because I was trying to play it, and I was on like the danger level. I know like first aid, so it just kept killing me. And then you go into another room, and these like weird liquor creatures are after. But it's terrifying. Like, if I listen to the Japanese, they know how to psychologically scare the crap out of you.
Exactly. Yeah. Podge and I were reminiscing about how old school we were with the Commodore 64.
Oh, I used to have an Amstrad.
Yeah,
the Commodore was the better version. The Amstrad,
the one that just came out after it. Yeah. And then it was, but we were saying about it, we had like, this is true. It's funny. We had we had FIFA. We had FIFA 87 or something like this. Maybe FIFA 89. Yeah, FIFA 89 for it was a tape, and it took half an hour for the game to load up.
And it sound like this. Oh, take the snooze out. Right.
Oh, very good, very good.
Yeah. I had I had the Amstrad as well, and I remember asking my mum to buy me Alien Special Edition or US Gold Aliens. Yeah. But there was this level where you had to go through these like hoops, and you know you were supposed to get the drop ship through the hoops. And I never got past that level. I don't even think that level really did exist. Yeah. You just bought the game, you did the first couple of missions, but the graphics, man, they're basically just pictures.
Exactly, amazing. Yeah.
Did you play much Italia 90 on the Mega Game 6 compilation for the Mega Drive?
No. Never had the Mega Drive. I only started playing it nowadays. You know what I mean? Like so.
Yeah.
I played it in arcades.
Did you have the PlayStation?
My brother got one. So then I just when he was like 11-year-old kid.
Were you playing ass Bandicoot?
Hanging out with him. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So and the PlayStation 2 he got. So he was spoiled. So
Vice City then.
Yeah.
When Gran Turismo came out on the PlayStation 1, I was just like, that came out during junior cert. I didn't give a shit for studying. It's more important for me to pass all the driving lessons or the licenses. And then Gran Turismo 2 came out for the leaving cert. And I mean, if they gave me like leaving cert result questions on Gran Turismo, I would have got an A+.
Exactly. Yeah.
Probably would have been better off.
You would have been like, more paper, please.
I'll draw you a Honda Civic.
Or the Chevrolets, yeah.
Were you ever into the Formula One, craic?
Not really, no. Could never get into it watching it. Because I always kind of felt that it's like money. Lads who watch Formula One, it's a general assumption. It was like, do you know how much that lad is making driving that now? Or do you know how much that Ferrari costs? And do you know what I mean? It was just...
it's a bit like golf.
Exactly.
You ever into golf?
Yeah. Well, no. You know what, Martin? You're interviewing the wrong lad here.
I know. That's why I was asking. You don't strike me as a lad who's into golf.
No.
I never got golf either. It's just, I mean, I think golf is a great excuse just for business. Do you know what I mean? It's like if you want to make your way in the world, it's like join the golf club. Like even in Swinford, like anyone who's any captains of industry from Swinford, they're always at the golf club. Like, what's the point when I was living in Swinford? I was like, maybe I'll join the golf club because my uni plays.
I always picture when you join the golf club that you'll get a good job out of it around it. Like, but the lad will offer you the job just before his first shot. He'll be like, Fred, have you ever considered getting into stocks? and then the next scene is me driving into the golf club with a big car. You know what I mean? Like
a nice good grey Audi A7.
Exactly. Yeah.
I just never had the patience for it. Anytime I did it, I was just, I like the concept of the American, golf course where you could just drive around in golf buggies. Like I just as Mark Twain would say, it's just a good walk spoil in it. Do you know what I mean? There's probably lads who are into golf listen to this. I don't think there's that many, but they'd be like, nah, man, Maloney, man, you got it all wrong with golf. You got it all wrong.
The sports that
it's probably, it's probably an excuse for lads, or grown men, to get out and just have the crack on it. I can understand why they do it. But would you ever get into the surfing now you're down in Kerry?
Yeah, we're going to get boogie boards because we're quite close to the sea here, and so we do. The waves are good.
You should get longboards. Longboards are great. They're easy to get up on. But we myself and the other lads used to do it a lot. Collie wasn't much of a surfer, but Pete, fair play to him. He's really good now. He studied to be a surf instructor.
Yeah.
Bundoran.
Tell me that, like so. But Pete just loves the outdoors, doesn't he? Like
he does. He's one of these lads who just loves jumping into any body of water.
Yeah.
Come on,
he loves life. He loves. That's a great presentation. Yeah. He loves people and he loves the outdoors. He loves life, like
he does. So. He lives life to the max.
Yeah.
So, any good musical tips for the audience before we hit the road?
Any musical tips?
Yeah. Any bands you've heard lately?
Oh, who have I heard recently? There's a guy I was listening to last night from Kerry called Junior Senior.
Yeah.
And he lives in a town called Kilcummin. And,
GA fan, is he?
Might be, and he might be, and he's brilliant. He's really. I'm actually a bit jealous watching him because he's whatever way he tunes his guitar, and he's a real talent, and he shows it off for the talent itself. He doesn't talk around it. He's obviously not doing too much pure stuff. I've heard a bit about Junior Brothers, the name of the band, not Junior. Did I say Junior Senior?
Junior Senior, yeah.
Junior Senior's the ones who are like, everybody. Remember that song? Oh, how hilarious is that? You're like, Fred, have you had any new music? Well, I've heard of a band called Junior Senior, Martin. Everybody. Get to me.
They're up there with the Pointer Sisters. I'm so excited. Do you remember, like, back in 90s teenage discos, there were songs like, hey, yo, Captain Jack, take me back to the railroad track.
Yeah.
What was the other one? I want to have sex on the beach.
Everybody. Or Bobby Girl. Like, it was a kind of a sterile, vacuous time for music, wasn't it? When companies learned about being able to package a certain thing and put that out. But, I guess, like, music, even 80s music is very much like that. They kind of copied synthesized stuff to...
there was a lot of adult-orientated rock that came out in the 80s, such as like REO Speedwagon, and I wouldn't say Chicago were like apparently quite a prog band in the beginning.
Yeah,
there was all these lads who were like in their like mid-30s to late 30s and singing about truck stops and they're the kind of songs that would end up in like a music compilation CD that you get in the Daily Mail or something. It's like Alice Cooper, School's Out, and or Boston,
Whitesnake.
It's always like, here we go again. Love
that I'm feeling.
But I got into a bit of a Whitesnake patch, but like if you listen to Live at Donington, Steve I used to play for Whitesnake for a while. Yeah, is this love that I'm feeling? But they had a song called Still on the Night that basically just took the just took the riff from Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin. It's like, in the still of the night, I hit a wolf now, honey, rocking around your door.
Took that. Wow.
Yeah, but it's a good old tune. But,
do you remember I took that Immigrant Song for when I did Republic Telly Ireland the musical, and we went to Armagh. I went Armagh. That's what we did.
Off from the land of hash and guns. A bit of the old fucking.
I love it.
Yeah. We should have maybe the two of us should team up when all this. That's just everything I say about the future is just when all this shit's over.
Yeah, exactly.
We should just do a couple of gigs.
No, that's 100%. Yeah, we'll do it. Yeah. That'll be the new normal. I'm coming to Sweden.
Yeah,
we'll do a few pub gigs.
Yeah, like I can get us loads of gigs here in Sweden.
Yeah.
Sweet. Like I managed to just alienate the audience one night doing a gig in Sweden because like I was in this Irish bar called Wikström's. I was downstairs playing the gig in this basement bit, and I said, you know, they did like the crowd was they hadn't warmed up yet, and they were all sitting around just like, you know, quite pensively staring at me as you know, if you're playing the first couple of songs you warmed up and you're like, oh god, and I just said, where are you all from? Any Irish in the house? There was like one or two Irish people, and I said, where are the rest of you from? You're all from Sweden, yeah? And they're like, one guy just nodded his head. He didn't even say yes, Sweden. And I went, man, I came in here to get away from you cunts.
But it was just,
here, I like drop Fred.
Yeah, that's so funny. And but just that time of the day, and like your intent was lost.
Oh, big time, man.
Oh, so funny.
A couple of people left.
God, a friend of mine told me he's in the band who I won't mention, and but they were supporting. They're in Donegal playing on the festival. Do you know, like Ballyshannon and one of those things that you love, right? I know. Once I get you start talking about that, it's another 3 hours here, right?
Exactly.
But anyway, they were on from like 6 to 7 supporting bigger acts, and they're in the back of a truck. That's what they were contracted to play. This is absolutely true.
Oh yeah, up in the town.
The band, accommodation, money being paid, and they're in the back of the truck playing. And there was no one. They're all in the pub having pints. No one came out to see them gig, like not one person. But they had to do it, had to play. So they're playing to no one. And then the guitarist says that half an hour into it, this little dog, walked out in front of the yard and had a shit. and then walked off. And that's all the scene for an hour. That's it, like. So that's showbiz. I mean, if showbiz starts there, it can only get better. Think of that, like, and then we work from there. Like.
Oh man, I was talking to a guy who I met on Pia Street there about a year and a half ago, and he was saying he was in Laois, and there was some sort of like gig going on, and McGahern was asked to do a gig, and like this marquee was like a football pitch in size, and there was just a couple of people up the other end of the bar, and he had to do like stand up. Like I love
the tragedy of them, like.
Oh, well, we've done those gigs ourselves.
Oh,
years ago, we did this thing called Rockstorm, a taste of chaos, or something like this in the Traveller's Friend, and it was just like the bands were like the Undertones and Aslan, Rockstorm, and we had to do this. We were on stage. I mean, the thing is, you can't be a prophet in your own land. Like anytime we were doing gigs in Mayo, like. Hardly anyone would come out to see us, but you had a couple of good loyal fans who were into it. So we were doing this gig in the stand-up gig, waiting for the bands coming on. And like you said, when you were playing the Slane, there's just dudes coming on and sound checking for guitars as we were in the middle of doing our comedy bit.
Oh yeah.
Like, for God's sake, man, it's so demoralizing. But it was just like we knew that there were people sitting up in the stands right in the back, but it was just. You couldn't see anything but the lights on us, and there was a huge dance floor in the middle. So it was like you were trying to tell jokes to the abyss.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I love it. Yeah,
I've done it anyway. You know.
Yeah. I remember being broke. GMIT gig in Castlebar, and it's their first day of college, so they booked me, but they didn't promote it. And I remember it was 2016, but I needed the money, so I did the gig, and they were paying me cash. And the ends officer wasn't there. So. Someone else in the student union just said, grand. I said, where's the venue? And it was in the canteen. Do you know those? You know the college gigs. It was in the canteen in the side. and like this is their first day at college, and there's a lad there. Like I felt sorry for them more than I felt sorry for me because they're just trying to eat their food, and here I am in the corner of the canteen going, "Fair play to you. Are you having chips there?" Or trying to trying to interact with these poor shy students. Look at you there, you mad lad, you. Like it was. But they're good gigs to do. Those gigs.
Yeah.
But then never to do them again. Like
exactly.
So
we were doing a gig at NUIG about 10 years ago, and there was a Kings of Leon tribute band because they were all the rage back then. You see, and they. I remember everyone left because Arsenal were playing someone in the Champions League. So like we were doing the gig to about like 9 people, and that was it. I think after a while we come to the conclusion that if we're doing gigs, they have to be at either theatres or comedy clubs. Yeah. And anytime there's a bar in, like you do, like you're doing a gig in a pub and they have the bar in the pub. Like we did one gig in Swords about 2 years ago, and man, it was just, we were trying to do like the Hardy Bucks gig we did in Vicar Street was like a theatre show, kind of like a live comedy show. And we tried to do this in the Chalk venue in Swords, and just everyone was just chatting. Yeah. And there was a lot of schnockter on the go as well. Like you go into the toilet, there was just, and then we had this like ad hoc dressing room area at the bottom of the stairs, and it was like 28 days later, just like coked up lads trying to climb over to us. And you just look at the nostrils, it was like 2 polo mints. Like, yeah, lads, can I get a picture with you? Give me a picture, lads. I'm like, chill, man, chill. Yeah. It's one of the worst gigs we ever did, man, was in Carrick Springs in Cavan. Oh wow! Yeah, Carrick Springs in Cavan. Yeah, what year was that? I think it was 2010. Yeah, and the whole place just ended up in a, like, I remember, like, as a kid, you'd look at Dallas or something and there'd be a big bar brawl and it looked like great crack, and you were always like, I'd love to be in one of those brawls. But then when you actually see a brawl like that in real life, the whole dance floor had turned into one massive brawl. Yeah. I was on the mic. We were doing some, like, playing some tunes afterwards, but I had the mic and I was commenting on the fight going, lovely headbutt thrown there from the lad in the silver jacket. Top marks on that. He didn't see it coming. And a lovely overhand right came in from the shadowy figure. And Paddy, our tour manager, was just like, man, we're getting the fuck out of here. Come on. And it was, then we were driving, like, I stayed sober and Paddy was driving his car and I was driving Tom's Micra. And there was just lads hanging off the Micra, and it was fall of Saigon, man. It was just... Yeah. It was one of the, like, Smoke on the Water. I know. I was glad to get out alive. Gig in Cavan. Did you feel a bit better when you hit the... you probably hit were you going back to Mayo that night? Yeah, so we got on the N5. Yeah. The further you get away from places, you start feeling a bit better about yourself. When you're on the main road, you've literally put it behind you. Yeah. You put that shit behind you, like, God. That was the other thing. Like, we had to put on, because it was in the nightclub. They were playing music, and then they were like, they turned on the house lights. Yeah. No spotlights on the stage or anything. And then as soon as the lights came on, the whole crowd started going, boo! And after about 7 minutes of vainly trying to do a stand-up routine, we were like, just kill the lights, God, man. Yeah. It's they have to be done. I love those gigs. I love the shit gig stories. I love the carnage of them. Like, and everyone's done them. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no one's immune to them, and we're still vulnerable at any time. Do you know what I mean? It's it's God, they're gas. What's the worst gig you've ever done? Oh God, Martin, I could put another 2 hours onto this chat. Even that question alone, like. So, but so the question is, what's the worst one that, like, might be the funniest? Do you know what I mean? Like, the situation, as opposed to, like, I've done one which wasn't funny at all. It was really hard, and it was around 10 years ago, and I was only kind of starting really to stand up properly, and it might have been like 13 years ago actually, and it was in the hotel, Salt Hill Hotel in Galway, and it was NUIG. NUIG were having their summer ball. The hospital. So there's a lot of staff there, nurses and stuff, and the charity behind it was Make-A-Wish Foundation, who are incredible.
like the stories, like for all these sick kids and stuff like that. So
yeah.
So the guy behind Make-A-Wish Foundation was there at it, and he was just there showing face. And originally he was going to speak, but then he said he would. So he said he'd speak for 5 minutes just to say thank everyone. But he ended up speaking for half an hour, and this was spontaneously decided. And he's a wonderful man. No one's going to say no to him. And the MC hadn't that much subtlety, and I didn't either at the time. You know what I mean? I had no stage time. So this guy talked about, oh my God, it was so bad. Like, he talked about sick kids for half an hour. Really sick kids and awful stories and news. And then, like, he had surgeons and doctors and nurses and husbands and wives in tears, a hotel room full of tears. And rightly so, like, he's an incredible guy. And then he sat down, and your man took the microphone off him and went, and now some comedy, and put me out in front. I could still see the tears in people's eyes and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, and looking back, I could have done it right. You have to acknowledge, take a beat, and work your way in.
Yeah.
You just have to be absolutely honest and sincere and acknowledge how important that was. But I went straight into jokes. It was so bad, Mark. Completely didn't read the room. I didn't have the stage time to read the room. I was like, I had no jokes anyway at the time. It was awful. And so that's, I did a wedding once, and by coincidence, I happened to know one of the families from it. And they put me on after the band when there was, like Peter Kay says, there was at the weddings, kids sliding across floors and families, and no one knew I was a paid comedian in the place. They were like, who the fuck's this lad? Is he just going up trying to tell us jokes?
Who's he related to?
Exactly. He said, yeah, they're trying to work it out. Which family is this guy? And I was meant to do 20 minutes. I did 10, maybe 8 minutes. I came off stage, and your man still paid me. As a solicitor family in Galway. It was the Great Southern Hotel off Square. And I remember taking the money and putting it in my inner pocket in the jacket, and I felt like the crying game. What have I done? What have I done? So
do you know Adam Burke from Bray?
I know Adam, yeah, very well. Lovely guy.
Yeah, he won't be getting me and Owen back.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, I've probably mentioned this before, but yeah, we'd had a very busy few days of filming, and we did an advert for Fly Fit Gym, but they didn't use it in the end.
Yeah,
wonder why. But it was some very funny content. But what happened was, like, I went to the IFTAs as well. We did a gig in UCD, and then the next, like, it just went out on the Friday, and had a heavy one, and then the next day I was staying with my mate Mark, and he was like, here, lad, come here, we'll go for a few pints. I'm like, Mark, I've got a gig at about 8:30, man. I've got to prepare for it. And the thing is, we had a whole set that we were doing in character. But for some reason, our booking agent was like, lads, you can't be doing the Hardy Books. You've got to sell out Vicar Street, so you can't be doing it in character, which wouldn't have made any difference. We should have just done what we did, but we didn't. So we went up as ourselves with no material. And of course, I capitulated, went out for the pints. Then I thought, I got quasi merry, and then came back and thought, I'll have an hour and a half kip. I think I fell asleep for like 2 hours. And then Chris Gavigan came in, and he was tasked with being the tour manager. And he just came in and looked at me in the fetal position on the bed. And I think I was coming down with the flu, because I had the flu afterwards. I think it was just the early bit of the flu. And he comes in, he just looks at me, and he goes, for fuck's sake, Maloney. Like this. I was like, it'll be grand. We took the Dart out from Torres Street to Bray. And then we go into this, and in the back of my mind, I was saying, it'll be fine, lads, it'll be fine.
The Harbour Hotel. The Harbour Bar.
The Harbour, that's right, the Harbour Bar. Yeah. So we're in the Harbour Bar, and I'm trying to write notes and prompts. I'm like, I don't even know what these are prompts for. And we were supposed to do 20 minutes each. And Dermot Whelan and Paul, the bald head.
Oh, Steve Frost.
Yeah, Steve Frost and those guys.
Yeah.
Quieting down. Come in. 1 second. Bear with me.
All right. Fine.
Sound. Buddy Pet Foods.
Oh, good stuff.
I met this lad in the pub the other night.
Yeah.
He's got a company called Buddy Pet Foods, and I was telling him he started this new company here in Sweden, and honest pet food made with love. And he said, "Oh, I'll send you some nice treats for the dog." And I was like, "Yeah, fair play, man of his word. I must give him a ring." But I told him that
that's pure sound.
Yeah, I said, "Well, if it's good stuff, you'll have my custom." So yeah, fair play to him. Happy, but crazy, anyway, chubby. Yeah, so yeah.
Harbour Bar.
So we're there anyway, and it was Owen's. Like we just, I could see in Owen's face that he had nothing, and he knew for me. I was like, Owen, look, there's no getting out of it. We're on a moving train at this stage, and like I thought after a few pints, the energy levels would come back up, but they weren't. Man, I was just like, I could feel like something wasn't right inside me. I think I knew I was getting sick, and I just didn't recover from the kip. And then Owen goes up and he did 6 minutes and just left. And I wouldn't mind, he made a really big fuss to man Adam as well. He was like, "Yeah, can you pay for flights and give us this and that?" And I get up and I did 17 minutes, and
that's good.
Yeah, but had like literally no punchlines, no jokes or anything. And it wasn't even if it was a Hardy Bucks crowd, we would have been able to, work the room. But it was just, I'd say that the average, there was a couple of Hardy Bucks lads, or lads who were into the show, but it wasn't enough. Like the room, I'd say the average age was probably about 35 to 50.
Yeah.
And man, I just ate shit for like 17 minutes. And apparently, I don't remember this, but there was like a bit of a step there.
You see my laptop here is jumping with laughter, like I'm laughing with my legs here.
Wait to hear this. I don't remember this, but Gavigan told me that he goes, when he seen me crawling onto the stage, he knew I was in shit. Crawled onto the stage, Fred.
Oh, what did you say? What was the first thing you said? Like,
I think I opened with a sigh.
Yeah. I would have loved to have seen the gig. I would love to see.
I just had to talk to Adam on the phone then the following Monday and just apologize for it.
Wow! And the
good thing was it was such an awful experience that I just took I made sure that Vicar Street I had everything. Like for all of us, we just had everything prepared and rehearsed to the max. And it, in fairness, it was a good thing that happened because it was so humiliating that it was like I can't the idea of that happening in Vicar Street. Ooh,
I know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you need and afterwards I was talking to Dermot Whelan, fair play to him, and he goes, Martin, look, it's just down to stage miles. And I told him the crack that, but look, we could have used the Hardy Bucks material that we were doing for the shows beforehand, but I think it was just a really good kick in the arse for us.
Yeah. So,
no,
it is. And no one's immune to that, and we all get them. No matter how well you're doing, no matter how big your crowds are, no matter how loved you are, you're still going to. If it's once every 3 years, it's coming. We get those gigs. It's just coming. That's it. There's no way around it. So
it's part of the game, isn't it? And exactly, I think so much of it depends on the crowd.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have a crowd who are pumped up and they're up for anything.
Funny thing is, I think when you are hungover, like you mentioned, I think you can change the energies of a crowd through interaction, and get them on your side. But I find myself when I'm hungover, that button of improvisation is turned off. I've nothing.
That's what happened as well. I was looking at people's faces. I was like,
"There's nothing."
Have you ever heard of Alex Jones? No. I was like, "Oh, fuck."
Exactly. Yeah. There's nothing.
And I remember at one stage saying, "Mother-in-law bought me a dishwasher," and someone goes, "Ah," and I went, "Best present I ever got."
Someone says, joke. Yeah. If you're fighting on stage mentally, internally, you're either growing and developing or you're fighting. You know what I mean? And if growing and development is you're prepared and you're in a good mental state and you're happy on stage, you're in control of your own breath. But you can easily go into the other side when you're a bit hungover and you've just no structure or technique, and you're fighting. You're internally fighting to get through it. Just the sweat that they talk about, and but it's a learning process. isn't it?
It's terrifying though. I mean, I like that. I was doing a couple of solo gigs there a year and a half ago, and I deliberately went up here in Sweden, knowing full well that people don't know who I am, and I'm deliberately going up with nothing. I'm going up here with nothing, just to eat shit as much as I could, and then it prepared me for Ireland. And so when I was in Ireland, it was like, "Way!" I was like, "God, this is brilliant crap." But Tommy Tiernan did a gig in Sweden once. He was doing as part of his improvised show. He went up in the Hilton in Stockholm with nothing prepared, and just went up and did it. But I think it's a crazy way of doing it. But if you do it enough, it's like a fast track to. Yeah, you're probably going to burn a few bridges with promoters. But
it's a risk, isn't it? That's the true artist, isn't it? To take that risk. Were you at the gig?
No, I wasn't, but my friend Mark was at it. He was, I hear a lot. Fucking shit.
yeah. But
do that in Sweden. Like to do it with the Swedish audience as well.
But Tommy, sometimes with improvisation, there's a technique. You can use techniques, tricks to get jokes. Do you know what I mean? Like you can ask someone, if you keep asking someone a question, you're in charge of the questions. And you make the questions more ridiculous, the answers are going to become more ridiculous as well. And then, you'll find something. But what Tommy did, he didn't even want to use any of those tricks. He was just like, I'm going to try and think of funny stuff. And if I don't think of anything funny, I'll just be silent in my thinking process. And hopefully something will come. He was that daring, But he's inspired by, Keith Jarrett, amazing jazz improviser. He sold the most. I think he sold like maybe 20 million of this improvised album in Cologne, it's called. But Tommy's really inspired by that. The idea that you can just walk on and improvise and go. So Tommy was thinking, is there a comedy equivalent of that, of jazz improvisation? Yeah. And he tried to do that, which is admirable. Yeah, he tried to find, I don't know if his own's done it, I don't know, but he tried to delve into the mind of a jazz performer through comedy, and is there a comedy equivalent of doing that? And that's kind of where his mind was going. But the problem is with jazz improvisation is that there's pattern. There's repetition of musical patterns. You can repeat a melody, but differently. But you still got that motive that you can repeat.
Different phrasing.
100%, but it's made reference to prior and stuff like that. With comedy improvisation, it's not that you can't do it, but it's very hard because repetition quickly loses itself in fun. You know what I mean? So it's so he was struggling against that, but it was a really admirable thing to do. Like, there was a moment in time, but unfortunately, he took a few punches for it.
Yeah, but again,
can I say one more thing? That's the thing. Sorry, Martin. The thing that the media give out about he went on stage with no material, and it's almost like he didn't put any work into it, and that thing was which wouldn't destroy Tommy anyway. He's so low, but that thing that the media got annoyed about is the one thing now that they're all praising because he's doing his show. It's the one thing. So for me, if I took punches like that, I'd change my ways to try and adapt to what people want. Yeah. But Tommy's like, nah, fuck that, man. In fact, I'm going further. I'm going to do a show where I don't know who the guests are.
Yeah, and it's a great. I mean, as a concept, it's brilliant.
It's brilliant. Yeah.
But you see, this is the thing, right? You know when you have people who are brilliant in a crowd full of people, they're having a conversation, and they're brilliant. They're working the crowd, so to speak. Yeah. But because when you're having a conversation, everything is within a context.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of add bits on or have recurring jokes within just a chat with your friends.
Yeah.
But when you're going up on stage and you're trying to do improvised comedy like that, there's no context. There's no context that's been provided for you to bounce off. So
you have to manually create it. You have to manually go into the audience and ask. You don't have to. I don't know, but this is what I think you have to do. Like you look at Ross Noble. He's an amazing improviser, but he will. You need to get it from the audience. He gets it from the audience.
Yeah.
Or something that happens, and he'll work from there, and he'll come back to it.
Because you've worked as a warm-up man for years as well.
Yeah.
And that's a tough job. Because
but you know what? I enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I'm lucky as well that the shows that I worked on. Now that night I was with you was when you were on the Catherine In show. That was a very tough night. I found it very. I don't know.
Tell me about it.
Catherine's audiences, like that was a tough night, but generally,
she said to me in the car afterwards, after I got pissed, and it was craic in the cab, and she's like, "Why the fuck did you get pissed before going on?" I was like, "I'm asking myself the same question." But continue on. Sorry for putting you off there.
But the nice thing about doing the warm up, like when you're doing for the Tommy Show or Republic of Telly or Podge and Rog, like those are the ones I did it for. They're all comedy shows, so people are in the mindset of laughter. They've had the 3 pints. You know, it's 8:00 in the evening. It's not too late, not too early either. It's Mammy Bear's porridge. It's just right.
The night is young.
Exactly. Yeah. It's full of hope and excitement. So that's what I've been given that before any of those come out. Like and from that, now I had it down to a T as if improv. Like some people see me twice in the warm up in Republic of Telly, and then the second time, like, hold on, he did that joke there 2 weeks ago. It's not so spontaneous as it seems, you know. I'd have this joke about getting someone in a taxi or couples and all that. So I kind of had it down. That Studio 4, I had it down to seats to do jokes, and when people coming in late and all that. So stage time.
Yeah, stage miles.
Exactly.
Stage miles. Music as well. Like I actually find music is a lot easier.
Yeah.
Because you play a song, and you know, and as long as you're staying in key and in rhythm, you can just
If you
can't think, just do another. You know, if you're like, oh shit, just play another bar. And buy yourself time. You can't do that with stand up.
No, like it's silence. If you have to think, it's silence.
Yeah.
No, I remember actually asking Ross Noble about that. I said, "Where's your thinking place? If you're trying to think, how do you think on stage?" And he says he had this kind of old granny character, which would go like this. And it would bide him a bit of time on stage. He'd get a bit of laughter out of it. And he'd manage to get into it. But while he was doing this, he's actually thinking of stuff to say next.
Yeah. But he's actually thinking of stuff to say. Part. It's funny.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
Bill Burr saying, I can't remember who he was talking to. He's like, they were talking about like when black comedians are doing it, like when they're trying to think of something to say, they'd say like, yeah, shit be crazy out here. But it's just something to say. Shit be crazy out here. And that's another sign when you like. I picked up when you know someone's floundering a bit on stage. They'll say, "But anyway."
Oh yeah.
Like Pete was a great man for that. Like if he's trying to think of something, I'll say, "Oh, but anyway, where was I?"
I saw a friend of mine, John McDermott from Kilkenny, is in I forget where he lives, and he always says, when you see me on stage, if you see me playing the melodicas, these plastic instruments, taking requests on stage, or doing the moonwalk, I was in trouble. It was a sign that, like, it mightn't look like that, but I'm fighting. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm fighting with the audience to get to the other side.
I was doing things where I'd pull out a tin whistle or a harmonica and just be like, watch Crystal Maze, man, where fucking Richard O'Brien would take out the old harmonica.
You talk to us about Mumsy.
Yeah, Mumsy. Yeah, or Derek Acora, God rest him.
Yeah.
What's that?
Oh, yeah.
Sam, yeah, what's that? All right, mate, yeah. There was a ghost here. Her name was what? What was that? Vicky. It was Victoria lived here. When did she live here? 1872. Yeah, Vicky lived here in 1872. And then the skeptic would be like, well, there's actually no reports of somebody called Victoria or Vicky living here in 1872. Pure Scouse waffle.
All right, that's the end of that show then.
Most haunted. Apparently, poor old Derek has checked out of the mortal coil. Yeah. Peace up, baby boy. Much love. Well, look at Fred Mioshkin. I'll wrap it up here, but mate, we could go on for hours.
I know that's the thing. Yeah,
it's lovely to catch up with you. For the audience listening, where can they find you and your work? Keep in touch with you.
Well, I guess www.fredcookcomedian.com.
Well, we've got his own website.
I do. Yeah, I've got the website, but I had to go comedian.com because there's an attorney in New York who got fredcook.com before me. So. And he's not a fan of me right now because I'm beating him on the Google.
So it's fredcookcomedian.com.
Yeah,
and, that's it. Yeah, you're on Instagram as well.
Instagram, which is Fredster Cooke, and Twitter is Cooke Fred. So you'll find me on Facebook. Fred Cooke comedian.
Good man. And tell me any other plans in the pipeline?
At the moment, hopefully the Tommy show is coming back, Tommy Tiernan show, and then I was very lucky with the timing of lockdown because we just finished a show 2 weeks before the lockdown happened. We just got it done, and so I'm doing a tour September. Hopefully, I'm doing a tour September, October.
Nice, the Fred Cooke tour.
Yeah, it's called Simply Fred.
Aha!
Hey, see what I did there?
I want to go on the piss, straight out there with Fred. And you'll also be a busy man then as well.
That's it, September the 20th, going to be a dad. So I've booked in my 3-year American tour on the day.
Ah, man.
I can't. That's showbiz, kids. I'll see you on the other side.
Parenting from Zoom. I'm off to Miami Beach. Just to work as a maintenance man.
Look, I could talk to you forever. I love you, man. I'll see you soon.
I love you too, man. Hey, thanks very much for coming on. And God bless. Chat to you soon.
Yeah, exactly. I hope we got enough there. I'll talk soon.
I think we did.
I'll see you for pints on the other side.
Yes, indeed. Talk to you soon.
Do it.
Have a nice day.
I'm coming to Sweden. I'll see you soon.
Yeah, please do, man. Please do.
I will.
Lonely over here.
Yeah, well, coming over.
Get your pints. Good luck.